And we are live. Okay. Welcome to the stream, everyone. We are just getting things, going in the YGO from Zero Discord where these locals are held. It looks like a quick deck change might be taking place, so I'm going to give that like a minute or two to go through. Um, but yeah, welcome investing with Cole Nugget. That's what I'm trying to dish out, nuggets of wisdom. Um, Okay, I'm in the general voice chat on the YGO from Zero Discord. I like to do that just to sort of, talk to people, about the games they've played and things like that. So, if you're playing in the tournament, feel free to stop on by and chat. But yeah, this should be a pretty fun one. Vampire is a really cool format, I think. Last week we had some great games in the locals for that. And yeah, let's see. Looks like we are getting that deck list resubmitted there. And oh yeah, I should pull up the challenge. I was gonna wait to pull up the challenge after I started, so that way we could see what the matchups actually were. So that's what I'll probably do. Okay, now that Samwise has resubmitted their deck, let's start the tournament and let's see how it goes. So we're starting the locals. Definitely not starting the big tournament tomorrow. Well, we will be starting it tomorrow, but we're going to be. Oh, someone tried to do something they didn't have permission to do, but it should be fine. I don't think that'll mess things up. Hopefully at least should be fine. I think. The bot. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, tournament started. But yeah, we'll be starting the big tournament tomorrow. So if you're not signed up for that yet, then definitely head on over to the YGO from Zero Discord. Link in the description of this stream, and definitely join that because it should be a lot of fun. But in the meantime, we've got this locals to practice for it. So let's dive into some games here, see what people are playing. I don't think anyone's started. Okay, we got Rago Drago hosting. That's food for Blah, who's History of YGO1. So we got two different people with different usernames on Discord and DB there. So that's always fun. And then we got with Cole waiting for Colgate there as well. So those are two of the first matches. Soul as well. So that's three of them. And then the last one will be Declan and Helios Rider. It looks like with Cole has started with Colgate. So let's dive into that one and see how it goes here. So, if you missed the last Vampire format stream and haven't been watching some of my other videos, it seems right now that the best deck in Vampire format is Warriors. Warriors have access to 3 DD Warrior Lady, which makes them really, really strong. And so it seems like that is the best deck going into the tournament. But I think that, maybe watching this locals, things could potentially turn out differently. Maybe there's a sign that it won't actually be the best deck. Interesting. Cole is playing Trap Dust Shoots here. That's actually really, really strong in conjunction with Painful. You can send triple Dust Shoot and also some hand rips as well. Although, if you've been watching my videos, you know how much I don't like sending Serpent off a Painful on a thing like this. I guess it's ultimately fine because you're getting the Dust Shoots out of the deck for later. So that way you're not just like drawing dead late in the game. But your opponent has no reason not to give you Serpent here because, like let's say you have something like Graceful Charity and are going to get value off the Serpent that way. You're going to get value off of whatever card you have basically in hand either way. So it won't actually matter, and you're going to be getting the Serpent back no matter what. So all you do by not giving them a Serpent when they've got Graceful is either they wait a turn and fire Graceful later, or if they fire Graceful right away, then they get to like pick what cards they discard. So they might pick something a bit better. But it looks like Cole already has a hand rip, so that makes sense why they're burning the Dust Shoots because, Colgate might be dropping below 4 cards here either way. So it looks like Cole is going to take a Ring of Destruction out of the hand. Very, very powerful trap. Go for a Pot of Greed now that the deck is thinned after the Painful choice. And let's see what they do here now. Very, very powerful opener, by the way. Painful can open up a lot of different avenues there for those sorts of powerful openers. Look like they're just going to set one pass. Could be like a Magician of Faith set. Could just be like a Sangan or Witch or something. Actually, it can't be Sangan because Sangan's engrave. But there are a variety of things it could be. Looks like terraforming is getting fired here. We might be seeing, oh, okay, this looks like it's an Archfiend deck. Pandemonium coming down here. Looks like double terraforming. So just being used to deck then at this point. And another Pandemonium will be grabbed there. Kind of unfortunate to brick on the double Pandemonium, but at least this protects yourself from like, if your opponent's got spell and trap removal. So Pandemonium's going to get fired there. And also Reinforced from the Army is going to get fired here. Searching out Marauding Captain. Very, very interesting pick. Card that not many people have been using in their decks because it's kind of underpowered. But maybe we'll get to see the power of it here. So Marauding Captain coming down, they're going to special summon out the Terror King. Oh, that's actually a really clever interaction. Because Terror King can't be normal or flipped unless you control an Archfiend monster, which can make it a bit tricky to bring out. But when you're playing Marauding, you can use Marauding to bring it out. So that's actually a really, really neat idea. And that's so cool. So Terror King will negate the set. So if it's like Serpent, it will be permanently negated in Grave until it's like brought back with like a revival spell or something like that. So yeah, this will be pretty bad if Cole just set the Serpent here. Major big swing on Colgate's part. Oh, but that will negate Witch, which is honestly probably just as good. So there goes the Witch, Marauding attacking in for 1200. This is really, really sick. I really like this combo. Colgate came cooking. And it's showing off here. Mirage also coming down and passing back to Cole. We know the last card in hand is Pandemonium, so that makes sense. But an MST coming down to clear the Mirage right away. So this will be all that Colgate gets. Now, as a note, Pandemonium actually has a very neat effect that doesn't often get mentioned. Because most people see Pandemonium, they see the life point waiver, right? Like you don't have to pay for Archfiends. And that is a very, very powerful aspect of the card because Archfiend decks can often just bleed life points out to their powerful monsters. But also, it can actually have a replacement effect. So when Terror King is destroyed by a card effect, you'll be able to search out another Archfiend that is less than 4 stars. Now, the options for that are a bit less good. There are some that Colgate's probably playing, like Deathstroke Archfiend is a good, I mean, maybe not a good Archfiend, but it's one that I think is worth playing because Terror King is such a central part of the strategy. You want a way to bring it back. So searching out a Deathstroke is not a bad thing at all. But it looks like Cole is just going to set a bunch. And then pass back to Colgate. Now, the question is that back row live? Because Cole didn't set anything first turn. So if you're Colgate, you could just have the read, well, that back row is probably dead. Or if it's not, and it's something like Mirror Force or something, then you don't really care about this. Yep, it will be getting negated. Oh, no, it won't if that's Spirit Reaper, yeah. Spirit Reaper will not be destroyed by battle here, and thus will not be negated by Terror King. Now, normally, Spirit Reaper would be very, very bad for Archfiends to see. Oh, the Raigeki coming down now in main 2. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I get why they're doing it, because if Cole has a Tribute monster, then it can clear Terror King that way. Marauding only protects your other Warrior monsters, so they will indeed be able to attack Terror King. But it might have been a bit of a greedy play. I mean, I guess you just got to keep up the aggression. You know, if they've got a Tribute monster in hand, you got to keep them off it. Just got to try and keep getting in here. A lot of decks are only playing like one Spirit Reaper at max because like things like Tomato can fetch it out, so it's very, very accessible. But if it's a zombie deck, the zombie deck will be playing more than one probably. And it looks like another Spirit Reaper will come down. I mean, honestly, Spirit Reaper isn't a bad card by any means, so regular deck could also be playing multiple Spirit Reaper. But yeah, MST coming down, hitting the back row. Ooh, Imperial Order would have been a good one to keep there. Although a little bit awkward because then you're paying for Imperial Order plus your Archfiends because Pandemonium will be negated unless your Archfiends will indeed cost you life points every turn. So, a bit iffy there. But yeah, I mean, you got to play Io. Io's just too strong. I mean, worst case scenario, you can use it as sort of like a Magic Jammer for free. And it looks like Cole does indeed have a tribute there, bringing out Hades that will be able to attack into Terror King here. And Pandemonium only replaces when it's destroyed by a card effect. So, or no, wait. Oh, yeah, except by battle. Yeah. So, yep, that will indeed go through. Kind of awkward for Colgate. If Colgate's got another Marauding, then that's actually really good because Cole won't be able to get through. But it looks like they do not. They're just going to switch that Marauding Captain to defense, pass back. And yeah, it's looking pretty good for Cole here. Hades is very annoying to deal with, and it does shut down a lot of comeback potential for decks like this because, let's say you draw like Sangin or Witch, that card would potentially normally be able to get you out of a situation because you could search out something that you need to clear it. But Hades will negate that. So Hades very, very strong on field. And it's kind of tough when you're in sort of a bad position to deal with it. Looks like Coffee's going to get fired here. That will potentially help out Colgate a little bit, just ripping some cards out of hand. Now, we know Cole has a Serpent in hand. That probably will not get hit by the Coffee. But Change of Heart is a very, very good hit off that Coffee. Can let Cole get pretty aggressive if they wanted to go for it. But it looks like Cole has Exiled Force and Serpent left in hand. So that's going to make things even tougher for Colgate here. Yeah, there's just not much they can do against a Hades on field. Honestly, maybe a reason to have saved the Raigeki for the Hades. You do lose the Terra King, sure, but at least you can clear the Hades, which is arguably the more annoying card. So yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. You kind of have to have the read that they've got Hades in hand, or that they've got another Spirit Reaper in hand to bring out the Hades, which is definitely like not guaranteed. So I think that it could definitely be fine to do it that way, but yeah, maybe it would have been better to save it. I don't know. It's really tough to say in a lot of these cases. But yeah, Hades is just going to keep hitting in here until Colgate draws a way to deal with it. That's going to be pretty tough. Let's see what they do. We know about the one Pandemonium in Colgate's hand as well. So that's not going to help them here. And I guess they can shut off their own Pandemonium if they want to, but that will almost never come up. Raigeki break on the set just to get more damage in. And it looks like that's a Terra King. So Colgate will indeed get to search here off the Pandemonium. So they will be able to get Deathstroke, thin out their deck a little bit. But, is that enough? It's tough to say. Now, Cole can get pretty aggressive here, just summing out like Exiled Force, hitting in for 3450, but they are choosing to save that. It doesn't affect their clock here. And they've got Ring anyways, so that will indeed be the end of the game there. So, very, very interesting game one. Really, really cool techs on Colgate's part. I thought that was really awesome. The Marauding Captain into Terra King tech, because you're often playing Rhoda anyways, just for your DD War delays and things like that. And being able to get out Terra King a turn early is really, really good. So that is really, really cool. I might have to experiment with that myself when playing an Archfiend list. I mean, if you've been following my coverage of like Yada and other past formats, then you know that Colgate is a bit of a cook. They're a bit of a chef when it comes to, making these sorts of very, very interesting strategies in these formats. So, they cooked again, they got the spice, and it is really, really cool here. So that is awesome to see. Now, normally when, I'm doing these locals, I generally jump from one match to another while the siding happens, but I don't know. I think this deck is really, really neat, and I just kind of want to see it in action again. So, we will be sticking with this match, I think, just to see what happens here, because I want to see the Archfiend deck go off. We've seen the Terra Kings, we've seen the Deathstroke, we've seen Pandemonium. How deep are they? Do they play like Infernal Queens? Do they play other Archfiends as well? We just got to find out. So I'm very excited to see what happens here. And it looks like Colgate will be going first here because they did lose game one. And let's see how it goes for them. They're going to fire Coffee. Always good when you open that. And with Cole says, I hate this format. Yeah, the hand rips can be a bit brutal, especially, if you draw them going first. It can always be rough. But I do think that, there are enough power cards in this format to sort of balance out the hand rips a little bit. But that's a complaint that a lot of people have with the DM era formats, is these hand rips just being so incredibly powerful when you open them going first. And, I do admit they can be extremely powerful, and there are some games that are kind of decided by your opponent drawing a hand rip. But this is also why, a lot of more combo heavy decks do struggle in these formats, because those decks can just open basically a brick and they just need their entire hand to actually work. And if your opponent hand drips you first turn, takes away the cards that actually work in your hand, leaving you the bricks, then that can be really, really bad for you. So that's why a lot of quote unquote good stuff decks in the DM era do thrive, because it is just like, I mean, you kind of need all your cards to be good when your opponent's potentially ripping out your best card on turn one. At least that's one of the many reasons why I think the good stuff decks do thrive. So Colgate hit out an MST off the Comfy, and that makes sense. They've got Pandemonium, they've got Mirage, they want those to stick. And yeah, it looks like Cole is left with a creature swap, a UFO turtle, maybe? Either UFO turtle or catapult turtle, Hades, and Reborn. So it looks like Colgate will be able to draw off the Mirage this time, drawing 3. And, that set, is it an MST? Only time will tell. But a Pyramid Turtle, okay, that's what it is. So it looks like Cole is playing a zombie deck, which makes sense given the multiple turtles that we saw before. Creature Swap is getting fired, and that will indeed go through. So this could be pretty bad for Colgate here if this attack actually makes it. Because what Cole could do is they just attack in with Archfiend, search out like a Spirit Reaper, and then get in for a hand rip. You can also search out like Vampire Lord to protect yourself against like effect removal as well. There's a couple different options here. Vampire Lord does kind of have a downside against Archfiends, though, as Archfiends does have a couple ways to make use of their graveyard. So yeah, Spirit Reaper just coming down and hitting in for 300. Maybe hitting out an MST in hand that Colgate needs for their Mirage. But yep, it looks like Colgate just shuffled there. So Cole will be able to take a card out of the hand there. Yeah, and it looks like they will do that. They're going to hit a Terror King. That is pretty rough. I mean, Colgate didn't really have a way to bring it out. So it's maybe not the worst thing in the world, but this does put Colgate down a card. If they don't have a way to clear the Mirage, this could potentially rip out most of their hand. It looks like they don't have a way to clear the Mirage. So very unfortunate for them. Yeah, they're in a really, really tough spot. Honestly, maybe it wasn't even worth taking the MST there. Maybe it's worth just disrupting the turtle swap combo. Tough to say. I don't know. I'm very curious what their back row is, but yeah, I don't know. This might be over for Colgate here. They can't actually find a way to deal with this. I mean, Raigeki is a way to deal with that. That will work. And also that will trigger Pandemonium. Oh, that's actually pretty sick. That's really cool. Okay, that explains why they might have gone for this. That's so cool. So yeah, Raigeki did destroy Archfiend Soldier by a not battle, so they will be able to search out Deathstroke. Now the question is, do you keep Deathstroke in hand, or do you set it? Do you bring it out and attack? What do you do with Deathstroke, right? Generally, you want to keep Deathstroke for your Terror Kings. But, here, who knows? Now, if the set is Archfiend's Roar, then Deathstroke can combo well with that, as you can bring back Terror King, and then when Terror King's destroyed at the end phase, you can bring it back with Deathstroke. But it looks like that will not happen indeed. But that's actually a really, really brutal combo. I really like Archfiend's Roar in Archfiends because of the Deathstroke Terror King combo. Because Archfiend's Roar is a regular trap, lets you bring back an Archfiend for a turn, and then in the end phase it's destroyed. So that will trigger Pandemonium, and also Deathstroke will allow you to get back the Terror King if you did use it on a Terror King. So it can just be a really, really brutal combo there, because you're searching off the Pandemonium, you're getting the Terror King back permanently, and yeah, it's just really sick. Looks like Cole's in a bit of a tough spot. Let's see, what do we know left in hand? We know about Hades and Reborn. So Cole can just Reborn a monster, tribute it off for Hades, and attack in. But we know that the set is Deathstroke, so it's not like that's really going to affect things too much there, probably. But just sticking a Hades on field is honestly pretty good. So it might just be worth doing anyways. A bit tricky. Tricky for sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else you do here. I mean, if you got a way to clear the Deathstroke, I mean, Colgate's probably not playing Vilepon, which would be the search off the Deathstroke for Pandemonium. Yeah, it looks like Cole is going to Reborn this Reaper here, and then probably tribute out Hades. Maybe if they want to play it a bit safer, they won't. But honestly, I feel like if Colgate had like Mirror Force or something like that, they would have popped their Archfiend Soldier when attacked into the turtle. So yeah, I mean, it might be TT set. That could be what Cole's playing around. If it's TT set, then it's kind of awkward something at the Hades here. And also, TT isn't something that Colgate would necessarily use when the turtle came out, because they might have been saving it for later, and you want to use up the creature swap. It looks like MST coming down, hitting Change of Heart. Change of Heart's really, really good here. And yeah, they're just going to commit the Hades, hit into the set there. It's just the Deathstroke that we knew about. So it did serve the purpose of protecting Colgate's life points, but won't really do much beyond that. And then do they have an out to the Mirage in the draw or standby? And it looks like they do indeed. So they did draw the MST, and that will protect their hand there. That would have been really, really bad for Colgate if they didn't draw that. But now they have to deal with this Hades, which is kind of annoying. And there's also one mystery card in Cole's hand that Colgate does not know about. So we'll have to see what they do here. Yeah, Hades is another interesting card in this format. People have been like going back and forth on playing it for a bit. Oh, Reborn back a Spirit Reaper is not a bad option. Protects them for a bit. Unless Cole has something there. But yeah, how the turntables. It looks like Colgate's also just going to set one pass back to Cole. Yeah, it means they must not have anything really to deal with this Hades for a bit. Hades is a very annoying card, as I mentioned. Pot of Greed coming down here, drawing Cole too. And let's see what they do. But yeah, Hades is very, very much a powerhouse in this format. And very annoying to deal with. Not much gets over it by battle. I think Bazoo is like pretty much the only one. Oh, I see nice. So is this a Hades? Oh, it's a Skull Archfiend of Lightning. Well, that will get over it by battle as well. Hitting into the Hades there. That will be able to deal with it. And Hades can't be brought back from grave. Now, a Fiber Jar would be able to bring it back into the deck. That's pretty much the only way to get Hades back into play later on in the game in this format. But yeah, Skull Archfiend of Lightning is also a bit annoying to deal with. Now, it can't negate the effects of monster that destroys, but if Colgate does have like a Terra King, then that will be able to deal with the set, and Colgate can get in for 2,500 with the Skull Archfiend. So, Michael Gray, yeah, I think the expression is indeed how the tables turn. But you know, turntables, tables turn, same difference, But yeah, Archfiend is going to hit into this Pyramid Turtle. Pyramid Turtle will be able to get a search out from the deck there. And there are a lot of good options for Cole to go into. Another Turtle is a very good one. Deck thins a little bit. Allows for a more aggressive play later as well. And it looks like Colgate's just going to set one pass back to Cole. Now, Skull Archfiend's kind of annoying. Like, do you want to waste like a Change of Heart or Ring on it? It's a bit tricky. Justin Lindfors asked, what's the main monster in Vampire format? Now, if you were just going based on the name, it would be Vampire Lord, but no one really plays Vampire Lord because the card is kind of underwhelming. And so I think honestly the main monster in this format is DD Warrior Lady. It's at 3 copies. Very, very powerful against a lot of the metagame here. So I think that's the main monster there. How did MST hit Graceful? I think Graceful was set as a bluff. And I think that's what happened there. But yeah, that will be the end of the game because Terra King into the Turtle will clear it while negating the effect, and then Skull Archfiend just hitting in for 2,500 will be a lot of damage. I don't actually know what Cole's at in terms of life points, but that probably was a losing position there either way. But very, very good game there. This Archfiend deck is just so cool. I honestly, I'm just keeping it on Colgate's games because I want to see what spice they got for the Archfiend list in total. Because it's just like Archfiend is a really interesting like rogue deck in this format. I think it does have some potential, as we saw there. Terra King, very, very powerful card. Just anything with an effect negate in this format, super, super powerful. And so that means Terra King, that means Hades, that means a bunch of things. And it's just really cool to see this deck go off. But, you know, we've seen Colgate open Pandemonium or have a way to get to Pandemonium in both games so far. And the deck can really suffer if you don't have that Pandemonium. So we'll just have to see if, you know, Colgate keeps drawing the Pandemoniums, if the Archfiend deck can still put up a fight if Pandemonium is not drawn. And we'll have to see what happens there. But it looks like we are going to go into the game 3. And Cole will get to go first here. So, you know, this could turn the tables again. Turn the tables, table the turns, you know, whichever one it is. Mix up the ordering of phrases. But yeah, I do like that sort of humor, just mixing up the ordering of phrases and things in an awkward way. Because, you know, comedy is subversion of expectations, and it's subverting the common phrases, so cool to see. But yeah, Cole seems to have an underpowered opening, just setting 1, passing back to Colgate here. And Colgate is forceful, so that will potentially go through here, unless the set is like an IO. But yeah, Cole has to think also here, like if they've got IO set, like is it worth using it on forceful or is it worth using it on something else? I think it's something that a lot of people in this format could like struggle with, or maybe not struggle with, but I do think it's like a somewhat skill intensive thing. Like there's often the inclination if you've got IO to just slam it on the first power spell you see. And I do think that this can be good. Like, the longer you wait on IO, the more likely your opponent is to draw MST. So, you know, you might just want to use it right away to maximize the chances of it going off. But sometimes you just like, sometimes you just want to save it for like super valuable cards. Because like if you've got a bad hand here with the forceful, right? Like you don't really mind if your opponent spins back a card off forceful. You might more care about if they're firing like a change of heart later, or if they're firing like a Raigeki or something like that. Oh, wow. Oh, that's a really unfortunate hand for Cole. So they've got 2 MSTs, a Harpy's Feather Duster, and a Vampire Lord there. You hate to see it. All bricks. But it looks like Colgate also has a hand of all bricks, or dispels and traps. They don't want to set into that hand. Looks like Cole's just going to set one more, pass back to Colgate here. And yeah, it's a bit of a stalemate until one of them draws a monster, it looks like. Colgate could also have an Archfiend in hand that they don't want to commit unless they draw Pandemonium. But Pandemonium's kind of bad into double MST and a Harpies. So very, very interesting sort of game state here. Neither player really committing anything to the field here. But that has its own risks. Looks like Cole is going to set another back row here. Might mean that they've got an IO and they're not afraid of like Harpies. Looks like Sangan's going to come down here and we're going to get Sangan beats for a bit unless Cole has something to deal with this. But dealing with this Sangan could be a bit awkward because if you clear it, then Colgate gets another search of another monster, and that could be pretty bad for Cole there. So we got the 8-turn clock hitting in for 1,000 there. What is Cole going to do about that? Cole's typing. He's thinking. We do know that Cole's on Hades, so if they've got a way to bring Hades out in the field, that will potentially clear the Sangan. But yeah, it looks like Cole has not gotten a summonable monster or a usable spell yet. Yeah, that's very unfortunate. I mean, yeah, it's just sometimes you brick, especially if you're playing things like Vampire Lord in the deck. And that's one of the reasons why people haven't really been playing Vampire Lord as much. If you're going to play a tribute monster in this format, you really, really want to make that tribute monster have a lot of value, right? Like something like Hades or Jinzo are super, super high impact cards. Jinzo can make for a major, major aggressive push. Hades can just lock down the board, as we've seen in these past couple of games here. Vampire Lord, I mean, you could fetch it out from deck off Turtle, sure. But ultimately, it's just kind of a 2K beater that can sometimes come back. But Triple Warrior Lady in the format, it very rarely does. It looks like Colgate also had a Terra King in hand, which they're going to pitch here. So, you know, Terra King not really the best. I mean, they could have set it just waiting for an Archfiend. But that's kind of awkward into some traps. And also, you will be paying the maintenance cost on those. So, yeah. Looks like Cole has a painful choice here. So that can get them some potentially powerful cards. If they send a bunch of hand rips and trap dash shoots and things like that, that can be good. Sinister Serpent here honestly isn't the worst either, because with Sinister, you can just set it each turn, and Sangan just has to hit into the Sinister every turn. So it sort of stabilizes your game state a little bit. So that isn't that bad either. However, if Colgate does have a way to bring back the Terra King, hit over the Serpent, then you're in a really bad spot. But I think you kind of do have to go for something like that. So it looks like we're seeing Serpent, double Dust Shoot, a Witch, and what else? Maybe a Sangan, maybe a... I don't know. I don't know what else. I'm curious if Cole is playing Book of Life in this deck with the zombies. Looks like a hand rip there. But yeah, this... Oh, Colgate's going to give Cole the Witch. That's weird. That's very strange. I'm not sure why exactly they did that. Because now Cole can summon out the Witch just hit into the Sangan if they so wish. I guess Colgate might really want the Search off Sangan. But it's a little bit awkward here because Cole gets back the Serpent next turn anyways. They get potentially a Search with Witch. Yeah, not quite sure why they went for that move. Maybe they're playing around like Call. But if they've got Call, they can just bring back the Serpent anyways. I mean, Sangan search out like Marauding can bring out a Terra King. So there's that. But yeah, very strange. Very, very strange indeed here. Looks like the Witch is going to hit into the Sangan there. Sangan will fall, and Colgate will probably search out Marauding, I'd guess. Maybe they'll search out a Warrior Lady instead. That will also clear the Witch without triggering the search. But, oh, they're going to search out a Desrook, so that might... Oh, okay, this makes some sense. No, I think you still search... I think you still give Cole the Serpent here. Either way. Okay, Marauding does come down. So that will bring out the Terra King here. And it looks like Bottomless coming down. That, Desrook won't be able to stop Bottomless, as Bottomless will banish the Terra King. And Desrook has to revive from grave. So, yeah, that does play around that. Bottomless is a pretty decent side deck tech against the Arch teams for that reason. So, yeah, if Colgate has, like, a Book of Moon, that will stop this. But, yeah, no. Wait, roll a die. They have to roll a die. Roll a die for that. Because yeah, it's if an opponent's card effect targets this card. So you do need to actually roll that. I believe it does. Oh, maybe not. Okay, it doesn't. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Oh, well. Bottomless is a very unused card in this format, so I'm not quite used to it as much as in later formats. But yeah, so that was my bad. But Marauding will hit over the Witch, get Cole a search there. And yeah, this is kind of awkward. I think the Serpent would have been the better pick. I mean, I don't know. I guess you want to get that insurance for your Terra King. But, kind of weird. But, yeah, I can see why they made that play. It's just really, really awkward now. Yeah, I think maybe even not attacking the Witch would have been the correct move there as well. But yeah, Colgate's going to set multiple back row here. They do know about the Harpies and the multiple MSTs, but this is to sort of guard against a blind MST. So, yeah, I mean, this is going to be really bad because Cole can just fire Harpies. If Colgate has IO, Cole's got the MSTs. So, yeah, this will be really rough. Now, there are some things that can help here, like Archfiend's Roar can help. It can bring back the Terra King. It is chainable. Looks like an MST is going to come down here, hitting the first back row set. Call will be able to bring back Witch here. So, yeah, it just gets worse and worse. Okay, Call can bring back Terra King, but it looks like the MST is going to hit the Call before that will happen. And, yeah, that will go through, and that will be the turn, looks like. So, yeah, let's see what their last set is here. Yeah, it was just a TT. So, yeah, quite unfortunate for Colgate. Didn't quite work out the way they wanted. But yeah, I mean, they had to know it was going to turn out that way, because they knew what Cole had there in terms of MSTs and Harpies. But I think the call search was definitely kind of rough for them. Yeah, I think maybe, I don't know. I think maybe just setting just the call in the MST would have been good there. Yeah, I think just setting the call in the MST would have been good there, but I don't know. It's a tricky game state. So yeah, Pyramid Turtle attacking into Marauding, probably getting out like a Reaper here, and they are indeed getting a Reaper. Reaper hitting in for 300 damage. That will indeed rip a card out of Colgate's hand there. So yeah, we'll rip Dark Hole. That was a really good one. And yeah, Cole's just so up an advantage. They've got Yada potentially coming down later. This might just be the end of the game here, honestly. If Colgate doesn't have a monster or anything to deal with Yada, then this is going to be really, really rough for them. Okay, looks like they do have a monster. Well, actually, we knew about the monster. It's probably Deathstroke, I think. But yeah, setting another back row that can be dealt with by the MST there. Yeah, it's not looking good. Not looking good for Colgate here. I think the bottomless really, really put in a lot of work there. Forceful coming down as well. It's sending back a Deathstroke here. So the set might not actually be Deathstroke. Could be something else. MST on that back row. It is a Change of Heart. It might have been good just to fire Change of Heart to clear like the Reaper. Yeah, might have been the play to do that. And then you could just summon out Witch, tack in for 11. Might have been worth it, because now you're dead to Yada here. If Cole's any other sort of form of back row removal, then it's gonna be really tough. But yeah, that's the end of the game. Yeah, they admit it. But yeah, I mean, I think that game 3 was kind of rough, but I think there was potentially some ways that Colgate could have played to mitigate the damage here. Definitely an interesting game though, either way. Very, very cool to see Archfiends in action, actually doing decent. Let's see if anyone, it looks like no one else has actually finished, so let's just put in this match here. It's Cole will be moving on to the next round there. So yeah, but very, very cool games. Let's dive in to Declan versus Heliostrid. Now, it looks like we got another zombie player here on the Pyramid Turtles. I mean, it makes sense. In a format called Vampire, you're probably going to get some zombie players here. And it looks like we've got a Metamorphosis as well going into Thousand Eyed Restrict. It's kind of awkward with the Witch, as, then if the Thousand Eyed Restrict gets cleared, then Declan will get a search here. But, you got to do what you got to do. And I think this is probably a good stabilizing position for Heliostrid. Let's see what's been banished. It looks like maybe from some Book of Lives. Oh, okay. It looks like probably a Change of Heart into Warrior Lady. No Change of Heart. So I don't. Interesting. Reborn brought back the opponent's Warrior Lady or something, and then yeah, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, one Warrior Lady was used on the Sangan, and yeah. Awesome Billy Bob Joe says, how/where do we report games? You can just mention it in the locals channel, and I'll just put them in manually, because the games in the locals, since we want to get as much sort of people joining as possible, we don't default them to rated matches, unless you and your opponent agree beforehand that it's rated. So if you just mention it in the locals channel, I can just put them in manually into the challenge. So yeah. But oh wow, that's a major turn for Declan there, getting Heliostrid down to 800. That is pretty brutal. Looks like Samwise won their match there, so I'll just put that in like that, and there we go. Yeah, a bit of a tough spot for Heliostrid to be in here. Oh, did they forget something? I don't know. Something might have happened here. Oh, okay, knock. Oh, maybe they knew about the knock already. But yeah, that will be the end of the game. So very, very interesting game there. It hit a turtle. Yeah, kind of rough. But yeah, looks like Declan won that one there. So we see one zombie player moving on, one zombie player falling. But cool to see zombie players in the tournament at all. Because zombies is a very sort of interesting deck in this format. It's a bit tricky to sort of navigate because it is like less good in general, in my opinion. And I think is that the uh, I think that's the other round one. Yeah, I think we've got one more round one thing, and that is food versus history of Wagyu 1. So history of Wagyu 1 is on a an interesting science depth cave deck, maybe, or just a stallier deck in general. Because you got like spell canceller, scientist, gravity bind. So interesting stuff here. Yeah, looks like that says probably a serpent. But hello, welcome to the stream. Looks like we got Colgate here. Very, very cool deck, by the way. Normally, when I'm covering these, I sort of jump around from match to
Everybody
match.
joins at once.
But yeah, that was very, very cool. Gotta love the Archfiends.
I'm very happy that it was such a cool, like, zombies versus archfiends. Y'all didn't know this was happening today.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm glad we caught it on camera. That was really sick. And I really like the Marauding Captain tech there, into Terra King.
Yeah, I was messing around with reasoning, and then I was like, no, this is too clunky. I could just play like Marauding Captain the old-fashioned way, and then just have like a warrior package, and that is just better, anyways.
Yeah. Now, something I was wondering actually, were you playing Archfiend's Roar?
I was not. I was even not even playing the Snatch Steal because I had the Snatch Steal like in the side, but it just never came up.
Well, I think the Snatch Steal, funnily enough, I do think the Snatch Steal might be optional. Just because it's like if you've set up your board with Archfiends anyways, your opponent likely isn't going to be normal summoning a monster to do stuff with, right? They're going to be setting monsters. So then you're falling down just kind of dead. So it only really benefits you, like, I mean, there are cases where like your opponent's got a hot S set up and you like bring out like an Archfiend soldier and then falling down the hot S. But I don't know. It's just it doesn't really seem as powerful as it should be.
Yeah, like honestly, the more I test the deck, the more I find that like everything is cuttable except for like Terra King and Deathrook and like maybe Pandemonium. Even Pandemonium, I found myself
I
like
was gonna
siding out of
ask
it.
you. I was gonna ask you if you would consider like it's Pandemonium. I don't even know if it's that good. I mean, definitely. I sided out like my dark holes because of it.
Well, so
Yeah,
the interesting thing,
tech, you know.
yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting because like we only saw the Archfiends get set up with Pandemonium on field, so we didn't really get to see if the deck could still perform while bleeding out life points for the maintenance costs. But I do. So one of the reasons why I like Archfiend's Roar is because it combos so well with Deathrook and Pandemonium. Because if you Archfiend's Roar back at Terra King and you've got a Deathrook in hand, at the end phase when the Terra King's destroyed, you can then get back the Terra King by pitching the Deathrook, and then also Pandemonium searches you out another Deathrook.
Yeah, that's like the main use of Pandemonium. It's like you get to just have like this pseudo immortal Terra King.
Yeah.
Which is something.
Yeah, like it works like that, right? Like if you once the Terra King is destroyed, you search the Rook, and the Rook can revive Terra King, right?
Well, you can't. So it has to be. You can't then use Rook after the search. You have to have a Rook already in hand to bring back Terra King, but you will get the search afterwards either way.
Yeah. So essentially, if you like the ideal like Exodia draw is if you drop the Pandemonium and then you draw Marauding Captain Terra King plus Deathrook. Because then you just have like this unkillable guy that can just come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like I forgot that. Like I think the Rook misses timing, so if you added it, wouldn't trigger there because it's a.
Yeah, I also think it's like a little too late because both are like when sent to grave.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if you have like one in hand already, it does work.
Yeah. So it keeps your protection online though, which is nice.
Also, I think honestly the summon skull guy, like he's pretty nice. Like he doesn't do much. He's just a big guy. But as you saw, a big guy was what I needed at the moment, right?
Yeah. And like it
it's
cleared
another
Hades.
name, yeah.
Yeah. So. Like, and if he dies, you can actually search Terra King, which is something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Actually, did you consider Lesser Fiend to be an inclusion? Because it's also considered an Archfiend card, so
it is indeed.
that could be an interesting tech.
Oh, you're right. Actually, it is considered an Archfiend card. That actually is quite relevant now that I think about it.
Yeah, and also,
I gotta.
I mean, it's basically another effect negator in a way.
Absolutely, and that's kind of like what the deck is trying to do. I actually was um in the reasoning version. I did have Hades, I believe, but in this one, I hadn't worked on it too much. It was just kind of like I put the Archfiends, took out the bad stuff, and then put in like the warrior package, and I was like, okay, let's test it out, see how it handles. I really wish I had the DD Warrior Lady for any of the Spirit Reapers, but I guess that's what happens when you play only one DD Warrior Lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think 2 at least is important to play in a fair amount of decks. If you don't have the room, at least try to put 2 Warrior Lady in, you know?
2 sounds good. Also, there's this really janky version that you can play if you do get Archfiend's Roar and like all the revive stuff, because there's so much of it legal at one copy, like Reborn, Call the Haunted, etc., and Deathstroke itself. You can actually just play that one
Favorite
card that like you draw every time you revive something.
card of safe return. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just end up, you have like 8 or 10 ways to get draws. I don't think it's very good. I just think it's funny.
Yeah. I guess you play like a Gravekeeper package as well with the spies, and then you have Rite of Spirit, so that gives you more.
You could.
That would be kind of.
And then you've got 2 options for field spells off terraforming.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Actually, we're cooking here.
Yeah.
There's also this one interaction that I didn't even think about, but like it almost came up, where if you just have a Terra King on board and you Mirage of Nightmare to draw, you can actually draw into the Deathstroke. When I played the Mirage, I was like, wait a minute, if this resolves, this guy might be a little bit hard to deal with.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good. Yeah. I definitely want to, if this isn't the list you're taking to the tournament, I would be interested in seeing how it was built, for Archfiends and all. Because I played an Archfiend build last week, but it was more focusing on trying to use like skill drain and that regard. And I also
wait, doesn't it like not negate the cost of the things?
Yeah, it does.
in this format,
which is
in this format it actually does.
Oh,
but,
that's cool actually.
Yeah, however,
I mean they are just big guys.
So I actually don't like the skill drain version, because basically, like with the skill drain version, you negate Terra King's good effect. So it's just like, you're just playing a 2K guy, and if you wanted to play
a 2K guy,
if you want to play a skill drain beat deck, you could just play like Giant Orc or Goblin Attack Force or something instead.
I guess the one thing
well,
is
I do play that, yeah.
Well, yeah,
I guess the one thing is that you can also like use Deathstroke on your 2K vanilla to revive it.
The thing about it as well was that I was pairing it. I was using like all these big beaters to get them engraved for Dark Necrophere as well, because it works under skill grades.
Can I ask a ruling question real quick?
Oh yeah. What's the ruling question?
My DD Warrior Lady attacked Fiber Jar. Do they chain Fiber Jar than DD Warrior Lady because it's optional, or is it DD Warrior Lady than Fiber Jar? Or
so I think we've encountered this ruling in the past. And I think it was ruled that you can't DD Warrior Lady the Fiber Jar.
But like, did they ban
or like you technically can, but it's going to be shuffled into the deck before
the Warrior Lady can banish it. Yeah,
it doesn't work.
Yeah, because it would be really nice if it banished it and just got the little sucker out of there. So, but
okay.
I guess make it more
banish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Okay, it looks like we've got History of YG01 winning there with Panda Burn. So they will be moving on. Yeah, very, very cool. I think Panda Burn is a very neat deck. So yeah, very cool to see.
We love Ojamas.
Yes.
Now.
Wait, I just realized Ojama Trio is like a really old card. I thought it came out like around GX, but
oh yeah, no, it's been around for a while. And it's actually kind of funny because I think like for Panda Burn in this format, it's almost like a goat control, or not a goat control, but a goat era list. Like you can make a goat version of Panda Burn basically. Like pretty much all the cards are here.
You're just missing like
Yeah.
the rescue cap, but that just like adds a little to the wombo combo. Like
Yeah.
you still
And
have
I've
like the
seen
monster.
yeah, no, and I've seen builds of like Panda Burn where they're not even playing Rescue Cat.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
like
And
It
I think the
definitely
big
just-
shield isn't really that necessary either. That shows up in a lot of goat format versions of the deck, but I'm not necessarily sure it's really necessary in this format. So
Oh, like Big Shield Guard now.
yeah.
When I play,
yeah.
I played Goat for the first time,
Mhm.
and my first match of Goat in my entire life was against Burn, and I attacked into a Gardna, and I could not move for like 20 seconds. I was just staring at the screen like, what?
I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know people played that card.
Yeah, it's like
know?
it. I think honestly, I had a similar thing. Like, it wasn't my very first match in Goat, but it was something like that. Michael Gray says, "Are y'all aware of the retroactive ruling being applied to Cyberjar in Goat format now?" No, what's that ruling? I hadn't heard of it.
Yo, ruling
Really?
data?
Yeah, there might be a
New-
new ruling change with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious about
Yeah.
what that is, because that will come up here, because Cyberjar, I mean, we've already seen it pop up in this locals like multiple times, so it is somewhat important.
Yeah.
Wait, I just realized I should just be playing Cyberjar in Archfiends because you can just summon out Terror King.
Yeah, and Archfiend is probably
That is
worth it.
a
Yeah,
good synergy, yeah.
And it's also just removal, which is like pretty nice.
it's awkward if you hit a Deathstroke, but it might be worth it for hitting the Terror
Yeah.
Kings.
Well, even hitting a Deathstroke wouldn't be awful, right? Because like I in the reasoning variant, I was like thinking, okay, if I get a Deathstroke out, it's not the worst as long as I can just like normal summon my Terror King, which is not ideal, but like if I can get him out, that's like the point.
Yeah, it's got a pretty big defense
Yeah.
too. So like,
1800 is relevant.
yeah.
And it's helpful for tribute summoning too, if you get like the bigger monsters in hand from Cyberjar. So
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here is the ruling from Michael Gray. If you chain Torrential Tribute to the effect when flipped and there are no monsters on field, you don't get the effect. Oh, okay, because so it's basically
really now.
So it's basically like because Cyberjar needs to destroy monsters on field, you don't get the summon part of the effect then. Okay, that's interesting.
I guess it
that can
depends
come
on
up.
the wording too, because I guess like I don't know if it applied back then, but I know it's like there's a difference between like then and then there's and if you do,
Yeah,
where
that's
then the
from
first
the
thing can still happen.
Yeah, that's from the problem-solving card text, which would be applied nowadays. And so Michael Gray mentions, like, technically wasn't how it was ruled at the time, but given the text, they applied the modern ruling.
Okay.
So yeah,
Interesting. It's funny that Cyberjar has a modern ruling now because like it was just on the ban list for like 50 eons.
yeah, I can't wait for the modern
Yeah.
Yada rulings. You know, you got Yatagarasu running around. No one's playing it, but you know,
No
Yeah.
one's playing it yet.
no,
Yeah, no.
Yada.
Just
I
Shino
believe-
Birds will become the meta. Don't
Oh, yeah.
worry. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, the only like it's rough. It's just like, I mean, honestly, like if you're playing Yada, why aren't you just playing like Trickstar Hand Loop, right? Like, I don't think they.
I mean, I
banned
remember
anything from that.
Yeah.
Or I don't think
I
anything
remember
from
when
that's on the
people would
ban list now.
like Yada came off the ban list and people would like try it in Flu, and I was like,
Oh
you're
yeah.
not doing anything else in Flu, and you choose to
That's-
summon Yada.
Yeah.
it's a
they
winged
have
beast.
a Yada. It's called Ryza.
So,
Yeah.
You
It
know?
Oh
is
yeah,
a
that's
winged
true,
beast.
because Ryza basically is just a draw lock anyways. So
yeah, they literally have just large Yada. Like under that armor that Rise is wearing, it's just the little bird.
yeah, it's a glow up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yada had to hide from the ban list, so they put on a suit of armor and there
They put
are,
on a
Ryza now.
gigantic suit.
Yeah, no, that's how they came back in GX. It was through Ryza, you know?
Yeah. But I think it just shows that, like, you know, a fair amount of cards on the ban list are probably just there because they're iconic. And I mean, this is something that like you see in MBT's like Mascus ban list tournament, where like so much of the list comes off and it really doesn't affect like too much ultimately. Like,
Yeah.
you know, empty jar is
Yeah.
not a problem.
Yeah,
I
like
mean-
Master Duel just unbanned like what 2 of the Dragon Rulers and then like a bunch of Zoo cards and like
Yeah.
well people are
I
freaking
think-
out. But
Well,
don't-
I think with the Dragon Rulers, because they've also got Tomahawk legal, so like, It's
Mhm.
It
it's
might
it,
be a little crazy.
yeah,
We'll
it's
see.
like
The thing
I
is
don't
like it's not even good in Dragon Link though.
no, but
So
like
like yeah.
for I don't know. I personally think I mean I don't really play much Master Duel. Um, I played a fair bit like on release, but uh, more recently I've just been focused on the retro stuff. But I feel like adding like a rank 7 enabler right to a format where Tomahawk is legal and also Kashtira is legal, is not necessarily the wisest decision. But
Yeah.
we'll
But
have to
I feel
see.
like I don't know. I think the thing about Tomahawk though is that usually like I think the reason why it was even not banned in the OCG was because like they still had Max C. So realistically, like decks that would take advantage of it would have to deal with Max C. But
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
I think the more scary one is like, because wasn't Trizu like a very good deck in like 2020 or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's more the thing. I feel like the most like scary thing though, with like I guess Dryden, if I remember correctly, was like I think the reason even why they banned it actually again in like TCG was like they were releasing Utopic Future Draco, and I think like Zodiacs were able to like summon it with like one card. I feel like
Mm.
that was the main reason they wanted to ban it, but
That's probably true. And I guess
yeah.
Zeus did that once. It's, you know what? It'll
Yeah.
be a fun time. Do you know what? Unban half the list. Who cares?
I mean, honestly,
Yeah,
like
let's
I think it's
do that.
fine too because like Master Duel is already kind of a different format from the TCG and OCG, so why not just lean into that, make it completely different? I know that people
That's
complain about
actually,
that, but like you know, um,
I think it's
Yeah.
cool. I mean, it's
yeah,
better than like having just a rehashed format that like everyone's already played 2, 3 months ago, right?
yeah, because if it's
Yeah.
already
To
going
be
to be
fair,
behind
it's
the time, might as well make it completely different, right? I mean,
yeah.
Say, I love the heavy storm with the text, make your opponent lose 4,000 life points. It
yeah.
just always is the best.
Yeah, have your opponent's
Yeah.
life points. Michael Gray
Oh
mentions the
yeah.
original text of Cyberjar says, "Destroy all monsters on the field. No, then." Um, so that's why it works there. Michael Gray
There's
says, "Get
a
rid of ban list
interesting
and all erratas."
true.
There actually
Yeah.
was a tournament that was held, I think, in Asia, where they just played a tournament where it was like nothing was banned, and like I think they
Mhm.
probably got rid of erratas as well. Um,
I'm pretty sure that would just lead to just
Yeah.
everything being horrible, like terrible.
well, so it
Oh,
was
I think the funniest yeah, no, the funniest thing I think was that the winner of the event was Tearlaments, like
yeah,
Well,
just shows the power of
yeah.
that deck.
that's because full power tier is just on an, like we don't comprehend this
Well,
power.
also
I
imagine
once
painful choice in tier limit.
Yeah. 3
yeah,
Graceful Charity.
that's
Yeah,
crazy. That's
yeah,
And
crazy.
they
That's
even and I think they also like I think in that list too, I think they played like Uneroded Future Fusion as well. So like who
yeah,
needs pot
man.
agree when you just have all those cards, you
I
know?
will say it's kind of funny. Like if you think about it, there's a totally different philosophy that has to go into like banning and limiting cards now than how it was back then.
yeah. And
Uh,
honestly, like
Yeah.
that's one of the interesting things that I find from going through the history of the TCG, like the way we're doing it. And to be fair, like a lot of the early DM era limited lists were because they were just copying like the OCG, right? Like Upper Deck wasn't
mhm.
really exercising too much of their own input with that sort of thing. But I do think that like you can still see how it shapes the game, and you can still sort of see like the inklings of like, okay, well, this is definitely a problem strategy, and this gets hit with here. Um, and you can definitely also see that like there's some formats where the problem card is not hit right away, and they quickly
Cough
change that.
Yeah.
scientist cough.
Yeah, like triple
Yeah.
scientist and breaker is probably not a good idea, but they let it go through, and we get triple warrior
But
lady
but they
and
limited
vampire.
breaker though, and that's the
Yeah,
real
I
problem
mean that
card.
was the threat. That's why it's called breaker format.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
They
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't want to be drawing monster cardos, so
yeah.
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 So, but like, I mean, it's just interesting to see. And then of course we get like very soon the big limited list, or not the big limited list, the first ban list. With Chaos
Oh my
forming
god,
like right after
yes.
Chaos.
For the
Um,
TCG, yeah.
yeah.
I cannot wait to just have my entire world shattered by just one guy that banishes a light in the dark.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited for that. I mean, longtime viewers of the channel know that I am a degenerate. I like the degenerate strats. So I'm ready to chaos lock my opponent. It will be very fun.
That video has to surpass the record.
Oh yeah.
It probably will.
Well,
If you get a lot, like you got to do the chaos auto lock like one time.
Yeah,
I mean, people
absolutely.
seem to like the degenerate videos. Like, some of my more popular videos are about degeneracy. Like the Scientist FDK video in Breaker did pretty well. Burn
Isn't one of the
videos
top
do pretty
ones
well.
like a stall burn mirror or something?
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
that was the top video on my channel for a while. It might actually be number one again. I know that it was competing with the sort of LOB format one for a while, but yeah. So people like the degenerate stuff, and I mean I'm with them. I like degeneracy as well. So, but
Then you're gonna get a lot of it. Is it
I
the
mean, I'm
next
excited.
set actually?
Yeah, the next set is
It is,
IOC
yeah.
Invasion of Chaos.
Oh my god!
So next
I'm not
month's
ready for this.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. This is like that's why like Vampire format is kind of like the calm before the storm, and that's why I call it the calm before the chaos, because it's like this is the last like quote unquote classic DM era, because chaos changes the game so much, and I mean I think that's very exciting in some ways, but also like it's kind of sad we're leaving this era of the game because I think that through exploring it, we found that it's a lot more fun than a lot of people give it credit for.
It's been great,
Oh yeah,
honestly.
and it's
And so far, from what I've played in Vampire, it's been like about as fun as DM has gotten.
oh yeah, like I think that
definitely enjoying
Vampire
Vampire,
is
yeah.
maybe on a similar level as Yada format, and maybe that's just because people haven't been tryharding Scientist FTK from the games that I've played, but I don't know. It's been interesting.
I would
We've
say it's
got
at least better than Breaker format, right? Because like
yeah,
3 scientists versus
It
1
addresses
is
the
a big
issues,
difference.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
Scientist FTK is still out there. There's a bit of a ruling question going on in the game we're watching.
Ooh.
So they're asking if skill drain will negate Jinzo, or if Jinzo will negate skill drain.
Well, it
And
depends like which one was first on the board, right?
yeah, I think skill
Yes.
drain was first on the board. So let's see if
Yeah, so
ruling.
Jinzo's just a
ruling.
guy. Like
I think
Yeah, he's
Jinzo
a big
is
monster.
negated. I'll
Yeah.
send a thing to
Jinzo might as well just be Beast of Tall War. Like that's
Yeah.
yeah. Pretty sure it's negated. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think it was this format, but I think I remember there was like a ruling issue about like a loop or something with Jinzo and Skill Drain, or so that they had to like.
yeah. You can set. I think it's like with one of the Jinzo equip cards that it just like breaks the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But oh, that's very funny. They fired MST on the skill drain to turn on Jinzo. But Fake Trap coming down to protect the skill drain there.
Dang.
I will not like Fake Trap is such a good card. Like
Depends on your definition of good. I think it
on,
depends
like
on
on the
the
right
deck too.
deck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like with the right deck, like it's so good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially with like in the formats where like there's 2 board wipes for spell traps, which is a lot of them.
Yeah.
Basically, just avoid Trunade at all costs, which
That
is a
is-
fair
That is an
assessment. so
interesting
yeah.
play. I'm not necessarily sure one that I would have done.
Yeah.
I feel like Reborn for the opponent's exiled, pop the Jinzo would have been the move.
Yeah.
But they might not.
No, we
have
don't
seen
want
it.
to get rid of the Genzo. That's
Yeah.
crazy talk. Why would we get rid of the Genzo?
Yeah, we got Fake Trap there, Lad
Yeah.
Russo. Very unexpected in this format, but I guess if you're playing an all-in back row deck with skill drain and you want to play it to protect that. But skill drain is definitely an interesting card that I will be experimenting with in my future videos. I think my zombie list is going to use skill drain, and I think
Ooh.
also I'm just going to make a sort of skill drain beats deck with a Goblin Attack Force, Giant Orc, etc. So maybe
Goblin
I think
Attack
Warriors
Force-
honestly could. I think Warriors honestly could just take advantage of it with like playing Zombiras and Goblin attack forces themselves because
Yeah,
Yeah.
you shut
they have
down
some
like the best
consistency
part
as
of
well.
Warriors. You shut down DD Warrior Lady. Like DD Warrior Lady
Well,
is like the reason to play the deck in this format, kind of.
but the thing is, it's like I feel like, but by doing that though, you essentially are like winning. Like, say if you're up against another like warrior type of deck, you're essentially winning that war in that regard. And so
But you're
I
just
don't know. I feel
playing.
like
You're playing a worse
yeah,
skill drain beats though.
I don't know about that.
The big brain play, if you want to protect skill drain, is to play Gearfried, equip your Gearfried with the rocket, and then if they ever touch skill drain, their thing is dying.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Guys,
real
don't actually play
That's
that.
actually a very funny way to. Yeah, it's a very funny way to do it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like when you're looking at cards and stuff, you got to be like, maybe like, is there a better way to play this? And I feel like if you play just Warrior Skill Drain, maybe like I think there's better ways to play Skill Drain decks, personally. But that will be Declan versus Ghost there.
Is
Alright.
the limit to a normal summonable monster currently is just Goblin attack force, right?
Yes, that is the
Goons.
highest attack on that. But
Yeah. I
welcome
think so.
Evil for
Premium
Life.
attack.
I think it's your first. Is this your first time on the locals chat here?
No, I'm scrubbed for life. My name has changed.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to the
I
stream.
I love how we
Now
just
have
talked
you-
about how cool this format is, and then we load up into this.
This is great. I don't know what you're talking about. This is peak Yu-Gi-Oh right here.
Oh,
To be
yeah.
fair, it does look like it's going. Yo, the Reflect Bounder. It's
Yeah.
limited for
Yeah.
a reason.
Well, it's funny. Like,
Aw.
I mean,
At-
this game seems like it's almost over here. Like, IO really shuts down the deck because you can't use wave motion with IO.
That is such
yeah.
a silly ruling, by the way. Can I just say that?
No, I agree. Like, I mean, maybe it's just because I'm used to the sort of exiled force under skill drain ruling, but the fact that you can't use
Yeah.
wave motion cannon under IO is just like mind-boggling to me.
It's like it's the same. It's the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, they really could change it to effects can still be activated. I feel like that would have been at least
is
a
it-
fairer way.
Well,
Is it
you know?
because well, it's not on the field? Is it like attributes itself for cost? But like, are the
Yeah.
counters still on the field? So it's getting the counters. Like what?
Yeah.
I have
Well, I
no
think it
idea.
should be the opposite. I think it should be the opposite. Like it shouldn't be able to gain the standby phases, but you should be able to send it.
And
Yes.
I honestly
Oh,
feel
does it
like-
gain counters?
So
It doesn't actually gain counters.
Oh
It's
my god. Why?
Yeah, so
Aw,
that's why if like in Imperial Order does ever lapse and you've still got the wave motion on field, you can then send it afterwards to deal the damage because it's still been around for that amount of time. It's just it just hadn't been able to send itself.
yeah,
That's
that-
interesting.
If
Yeah.
I play whenever I want to troll and I play burn on ladder, people will be like put a counter on. I'm like, no, you have to remember.
I mean that's legal, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you don't have
I
to.
mean,
can
yeah,
technically do
show
that,
me.
yeah.
It doesn't say put a counter on it anywhere.
Yeah.
You have
Which
to remember.
Yeah.
It's
honestly,
crazy.
it's kind of
No, wait,
ironic.
you have to say it all caps.
Yeah. It's kind
Well,
of
I'll just
ironic
summon
because it came out in the set that introduced magic counters and spell counters and stuff,
Yeah.
but it doesn't
Yeah.
actually put it on itself. So,
Are you trying to get sued calling it magic counters?
I know that's why I had to change the spell because I was like,
yes.
we're not in the
Well,
first
there
few sets
are-
of the game,
isn't-
you know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Big
but
brain
there
theory
are
time.
technically oh.
Big brain theory time. What if they made wave motion cannon not gain counters specifically so that you couldn't use the counter cards with it?
I think that's probably why they did it because can you-
Probably,
idea.
yeah.
there definitely would have been an apprentice magician sort of thing going on there, where like you just bring out apprentice magicians, buff up your wave motion cannon, and kill your opponent through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like
Or
with
Pitch Black Power Stone as well.
Yeah, Pitch Black Power Stone like doubles the rate at which you get encounters. So it's like one extra per turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I could
Like a
imagine
wave
Yeah,
motion.
in the design phase they were designing it with spell counters in mind, but then they were like, wait a second, this is potentially too degenerate, so we gotta
It's like,
gotta cut
maybe
back
not
on this.
actually.
yeah
Wave motion OTK.
yeah. And they were like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
let's
feel that-
they're like, well, we'll release this like harmless scientist guy here, but you know maybe we should
Yeah.
cut back on the canon a bit.
Yeah. No, we'll
I
have
just-
a I don't know. Someone will then try to figure out a way to FTK with wave motion cannon if there ever was a time with it. Probably.
It might be possible.
Yeah.
They just can't ban
Everything
Imperial
is
Order
possible.
fast enough.
Oh yeah. I mean, that would be.
Wait, does that get banned
like-
in the first ban list?
I believe so.
Oh yeah, brother.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first ones. Yeah.
And good riddance, because Imperial Order, in
Yeah.
my opinion, is the most frustrating card in the DM era.
Worse than Chaos Emperor Dragon by a lot.
Yeah, but I mean,
Well, the
I haven't
Chaos
played with
monsters are
Chaos
like at
Emperor Dragon
least
yet, so I can't.
I don't know.
at least Chaos monsters like do cool things, right? It's like they are
Yeah,
mighty
they-
in what they do.
yeah.
Yeah.
They end the game, I guess.
IO is just, have you drawn the MST? No. Well, let's have a fun game
What?
all.
Yeah.
This
No,
game-
honest. Oh,
I
I
think
was
he
just thinking.
shouldn't have.
Yeah, why not?
Oh,
Yeah, because the
He shouldn't have set it
Woboku-
solemn.
Yeah.
There's no reason to set solemn there.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
early in
I
the
think
game, it's unless you're just like
settings.
trying to waste a harpies. It's Ooh,
Yeah,
that
I don't really
is-
get setting solemn early. Like if you like, it has the same impact as if you
Oh
just take
my
a bunch
God.
of hits to the face, right?
those.
Look at
those
those.
hits off
Ooh.
Cyberjar. Those
And there's a
man,
morphing
That's
jar.
those are custom made
He's
hits
got
right
to.
there.
He's got to put morphing jar in
Jeez.
attack mode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Otherwise, you lose out on all that power. I mean, you could just say like,
Yeah.
my opponent can't attack both my sets, so like, I'll gamble a bit.
But he can. He's got.
You
He's
could
got
play the
Rhoda Reborn.
Yeah.
Oh
but-
yeah, and it's in main phase 2. Never mind.
Yeah, you'd have to bring
phase
back
one.
Cyberjar off the reborn.
or
But,
1. Yeah.
Well, actually, you could graceful pitch a monster and hand that.
Yeah.
And
Set everything.
Yeah.
Go +5.
warrior lady
Yeah,
and
no,
attack.
just draw into Book of Moon and then like set the morphing jar so that way you get more draws, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got the warrior lady in attack, you got to put the morphing jar in attack too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
there-
he's
yep.
not doing it. He's setting it.
really.
Oh, is he?
I got a feeling.
Oh,
Maybe he's
uh-oh.
thinking. Okay, no.
Okay.
He
Of
realized.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. God,
Yeah.
I feel very
the-
bad. I lost to Sam, and I feel like I actually had a bit of a shot. I brought a Zork deck.
Ooh.
And,
A Zork deck.
Yes, I did, and
Did you
Uh,
roll a 6?
yeah,
You know
that's
what?
the first roll I did in the first game. I did, and that basically lost me the game
That's
because
why
he had like
you gotta play Contract with Dark Ruler and Berserk Dragon.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
Is second coin toss legal yet?
Oh, is it? I think it.
I have no idea.
I don't think it is.
That's interesting.
Gut
Well-
instinct. I don't think it is because.
Is that the
um,
trap one?
No, it's a
No.
continuous spell.
No, it's a
You're thinking Lucky
okay.
Chance, I think, which is like you get
Yeah.
to draw if you call
That's
the
the
coin
dice.
toss.
Or
Yeah,
wait, no.
which is worse, but
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think.
I think the dice one is like a trap,
Oh,
right?
second reroll has come out, which is honestly second reroll or dice reroll, I think it's called. That's like one of my least favorite cards in the game's history. Just because it's so bad from like a design perspective, it's just like awful because like you have to gamble that you're going to get a bad roll, and then gamble again that the second roll is going to be good. Like,
Yeah.
it's just if it had been like, activate this after you do a die roll, re-roll that die roll, that would be okay. I'd be like, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
it would still be a bad card, but it'd be understandably bad.
I'll tell you what, my Zork's always going off.
Yeah. Oh, because
Well,
of
it
the
worked actually
dice
pretty
reroll?
well.
Yeah.
No.
Oh shit.
I mean, I guess it is a bit of a safeguard, but we got some spice here on PJ's part. Looks like they're playing a bit of a Mane sort of control deck.
Yo.
Oh,
Dark
yeah.
Sword.
This
We're
is
here.
the this might be the deck that they actually used against me yesterday,
Oh,
like at
why
2 a.m. or
would-
something when we dueled.
Why
Mane
would
is
you-
such a cool card.
Just Dawn. You got Donnie. He's
Yeah.
got 5 cards.
I guess they're trying to
Yeah.
shut off the.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but yeah, well, Boku was activated anyways, so.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, that's
Yeah.
But the
That
Yada
actually
is
is-
kind of.
So we're just playing around with Boku. That's it. We're just playing around with Boku.
Is Yada has to do damage. It can't just
Yeah.
attack
Yeah,
directly.
yeah. If Yada just had to attack something,
Oh,
do you
my
know how many defense position monsters
No,
I would
just meant
attack into?
Attack. I
Attack
thought it was if
directly.
it attacked directly.
Oh, just attack directly.
attack directly.
You should
man.
have set. He
Yeah,
didn't.
I
He
think he
forgot the
probably
turn was
forgot
so
about
long.
Waboku.
It's been a long turn.
Yeah,
Everyone forgets about
Yeah.
Waboku.
so
Especially
He's
after
got
the summer.
11
Yeah.
cards. 11 cards in the graveyard already on his
Yeah.
first turn.
yeah, Cyberjar will do that. And
Mhm.
also,
That's a-
the IO too. Wow. Yeah, it's looking a bit tough for Samwise to come back from this because
Yeah.
Oh
MST?
no.
no MST there.
No, they didn't.
And
I don't think they drew it. Yeah.
PJ's also got Reborn and Jinzo Engrave, so they can just bring back their own Jinzo next turn, shut off their IO, shut off their opponent's traps, and
Yeah.
it is not looking the best.
game
for
They
looks-
need.
Samwise here.
It looks
They're like.
Jin's over.
Yes, Jin's over.
Yeah.
Jinzo is
No,
such
they
a
would have to
powerful
draw
card.
into. Yeah, no, they would have to draw into like a second morphing jar, or fiber,
I like-
right?
I like the bald representation on this card.
On Jinzo, yeah.
Yeah.
All the bald folks out there getting their best representation.
Yeah.
You know.
Yu-Gi-Oh
course.
players they're gonna start getting that. They're hitting their 30s.
Now we
Yeah.
just need the Genzo alt art with like just this flowing long locks.
Oh, I thought you were talking
Yeah,
about
no, I
the,
think it
the
need-
like hand one where he's like, crossed arms
Team
and like
Jinzo.
lightning coming from the hands. But
Yeah, no, I think it needs to be like all spiked. No, he needs to be like spiked up hair. That's I think would be more fitting, you know?
You just want him to look like Yugi.
Yeah. Yugi Jinzo.
oh yeah.
Okay.
So
Oh,
see
I've
here.
actually I looked it up. Don't look up Genzo with hair. You just get a guy.
get weird things. I'm sure there's like Rule 34
Yeah.
for Jinzo out there that I'll not be
Mhm.
pulling up on stream. But
Don't check your DMs.
yeah. I'll happily look at that after stream, but
Wait, whoa.
for science,
Speak for we'll do it for Esperoba.
Exactly. I gotta know.
This is
Maybe he just
Yeah.
has Esperoba hair. Like he just puts on an Esperoba wig in his free time.
Yeah, this is a bit
Yeah,
rough.
then
Yeah,
he-
this doesn't actually solve the problem here.
Very slowed down.
Yeah.
he's just
Yeah.
he's just wasting everybody's
Oh.
time.
yeah.
Man.
I mean, painful will probably clear things
It's
up.
okay. With all this time that we have, as this
Oh.
is happening, it'd be very cool if 9 people were to subscribe, so we reach 1,000.
That's true. We're very,
Yeah.
very close. We've been sort of dancing around 990 over the past couple days. Sometimes 991, sometimes 989, just like dancing around. But it'd be really great if we could reach 1,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah, MST,
Heavy.
Heavy Storm.
Do they
Yeah.
have enough though?
MST.
Question.
2 more MSTs probably, and then Knock is gonna get picked here because Knock will not help.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you need knock for?
Well, I guess they're trying to use that to get like the. Oh wait, no, Stats still now for sure, but they wanted to maybe do that to get rid of the jar.
It
but
deck thins, I guess.
Yeah.
But either way, the game is over here likely. I mean, the only thing
I guess they
can't-
have Breaker in hand, right? Or
Well, I can't think of a way that Samwise gets back in this situation.
okay,
Deck out.
Oh, I guess
that actually is
15
a possibility.
It is on the
got it.
table.
With Messenger of Peace, it's a what is it? That's
It
a
would-
20.
Yeah, so
mean,
PJ attacks in.
20
They've got 14 more turns of Yada, or 13 more
It's a
turns of Yada.
seven. I think it's
Yeah.
a 17 turn clock with 3, 6, 9.
So yeah,
Math
it'll
is so
be
hard.
PJ can deal. I think
It's 300 a turn.
yeah. So Samwise's taking 100 now, and they'll be taking 3,600 more, I believe, over the course of these turns, down to 1,200.
17 turn clock.
Yeah.
But he's
which notably is not enough.
Well, so all they need to do is draw into Breaker if they're playing it, and Breaker can break
Or-
the Messenger, and then that'll be
or
the end. of the
Yeah.
premature
game.
burial. Premature burial.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need a reborn as well. That could be another way to win.
Reborn will also do it. Oh yeah, Reborn's engraved, but yeah,
Wait.
pre-mat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are multiple ways for PJ to get out of this if they are playing them. And I feel like if you're going up against Burn or like a stall deck, you're not going to side out Breaker, right? Like Breaker's definitely in the deck. And once Breaker comes down, even like Book of Moon won't save Samwise because then Jinzo will be able to attack again as well. So this will indeed
Yeah.
be the end of the game here. We can watch it play out though, just to, you know.
Y'all were talking about the weird philosophy of the ban list for a while in the TCG. I was just thinking of some of the funny, like DD Assailant, they put it to 2. I'm like, DD Assailant never needed to be at 2 copies.
It's so
For
threatening.
Smashing
though.
Ground, Smashing Ground was at 1. Like,
I
Can't
think
have
that
too
was
much
because
removal.
of gadgets. Actually,
But
I think
yeah,
that was because of gadgets at the time. But
Yeah,
for
like
smashing, just because they could use
Gad-
it to clear and get in.
yeah, they would. Yeah, they would play 3 Smashing Ground, 3 Fissure. Like I think Fissure was put to 1 because of that too. Actually,
yeah, but
Interesting.
Gadgets only have, like, Gadgets won Canadian Nationals one year, and that was like it.
well, they did get second at Edison, but
Mhm.
people still don't know how that happened.
It was but Smash and Ground and Fissure were unlimited by then.
That's
yeah.
true.
That's why it got.
Maybe that's why
it got
I
second at
got
Edison. Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
Have you seen that deck? It's gadgets. It's 1-for-1 removal, and Doom Caliber for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, people liked Doom Caliber a lot back then, and that card is trash.
Oh yeah. It's been one of
Yeah.
It's a
the
funny card.
coolest things to see in modern deck building. Just seeing people be like, yeah, "Why are people playing this? This card is terrible."
Yeah.
Vampire Lord just in shambles.
Yeah,
think it's-
another weird one.
Yeah, I think it's like the rarity sort of blinders, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you think about it, like when you're building decks and you see like, oh, this set is a secret rare, it's Vampire Lord, and it has like a somewhat decent effect, and it can be fetched out off like Pyramid Turtle and things like that. So you're like, actually, this seems pretty cool, and it's like really rare too. So that means it must be powerful too. But you know, eventually you just realize like, oh wait, this card's actually bad. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
When-
they needed to. Like, that's the thing. If you're going to take advantage of a turtle, then it's okay. But if
even
you're
then,
not,
it's
like,
just kind of like,
yeah,
like I mentioned
but,
it
like-
in
yeah,
in the game between Cole and Colgate. They were playing Archfiend versus Zombies, and Cole opened a hand that was like a bunch of spell and trap removal and Vampire Lord, and it's like
Wait,
well, that's definitely not great. Yeah,
yeah, and it's
Why
like
is he-
if it was Jinzo or Hades or something, that would have been a much better normal summon later in the game. Like that could be like pretty brutal for
this
Colgate
might
to
be a
deal with.
throw.
But just having the Vampire Lord drawn, like hard drawn in hand, it just gets rid of the benefit off of like the turtle, and also just like it's disappointing after that, right? Like it's
Yeah.
it's a
Sa-
you look at the
Sam
card. It's like,
wants-
oh, this can never die. Anyways, it gets hit over by fucking skill
Yeah.
drain goblin attack force. Even like,
or
Well,
I mean
yeah, that
just
too.
DD Warrior Lady is very good.
Yeah,
actually,
that's a
yeah,
big
that's
one,
like
too.
because everyone's like playing that like more now.
I find it interesting that
Mhm.
PJ let Samwise draw a card here, but I guess it just accelerates the clock a little bit, I guess.
He
Makes
got
sense.
bored.
Yeah.
He got bored.
Yeah. It's like, what are you
tired
gonna
of
draw
this.
here? You know, nothing.
Yeah. I've
but-
got Nobleman. I've got whatever. I'm tired of this bullshit.
Yeah, change of heart on the Jinzo. Probably.
Yeah,
won't
insert
help.
an illegal self-destruct button.
Yeah.
Hey,
1400.
Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Last turn for the Fins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last turn under Jinzo.
With no monster,
Yeah.
you know?
Jinzo, yeah.
Wait, no. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then
Jinzo
that
just
will
goes back.
likely be the end of the game because the only spell that can really do anything here is like Book of Moon, and that will not affect things if PJ brings out another monster.
that-
So,
Yeah, no. Make
Bring out the
reverse
Yada.
as a quick play spell and
I mean,
call
that
it
works.
right.
Just end it with Yada. Oh,
now there we go.
that would have been good.
Okay,
God.
so it looks like
Yeah.
PJ moving on there.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey there, Blob.
No.
So does that mean that your match with Okay. Looks like Blah won the match against Dump Truck here.
It was
so it looks
horrible.
like PJ will have to face Burn twice in a row.
All right, we gotta come on, Panda. Let's go. I believe in the Panda.
And Cole
Panda's
heads
definitely an
to the
interesting
semifinals.
deck. Okay, looks like Spear Reaper lost to Cole, so it looks like Cole's going to be moving on to face
Panda,
Declan
you
as well.
say?
B-Suck, you just missed the greatest game in history. I will have to describe it to you later.
Oh,
I'm so
rip.
sorry.
If you send the
Panda.
replay at the end of the stream, I can sort of have it playing on in the background while we talk.
You need to see the replay. I will DM it to you.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I'm so sorry about what you're going to witness.
Well,
It's
right
going
now
to
we're
be
diving
horrible.
into Declan and with Cole because their match is up already. But yeah, we got to see a bit of the burn strat in one of the other games. It looked pretty good, so excited to experiment with that myself. Probably next week. G Lamb says, "Hey everyone, format looks wild," and yeah, this is a pretty wild format, pretty fun. It doesn't look like
Yeah.
many people brought like typical warrior lists, which is kind of interesting. Because I do think that like the typical warrior lists are like some of the best in the format. But I mean, we're getting to see some of the real variety that this format has in terms of its like rogue and jank
Interest.
lists. So very cool to see.
Trap-
Yeah.
Now that
Trap
you
Dust
mention,
Shoot.
Trap Dust
Yeah,
Shoot is a card I was not expecting.
It's probably the best of the 5 to give them, right? Because it's like it only hits a monster
Ooh.
from hand, and like you still retain all your powerful spells and traps.
It
And stuff.
depends.
Wait, we
how
also
bad
get
you-
we also get hand
Okay, now.
information here, right? Because like every single time in my match, they always send Serpent, so this has to mean Serpent's just in hand, like straight up.
Not necessarily.
now.
I think this is a pretty
I'll be
good
heading
5
out
to send.
facing PJ.
Hope
Hope I lose.
I guess
but
I guess they could have just like really want a hand rip, but
bad luck.
yeah,
Well, it makes
Duo-
sense to be fair. Like I
Yeah,
get like why sending the dust shoots now because they suck drawing later. So
Yeah.
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 I think
Might
the
have
duo
Serpent hand.
actually implies that Declan has Serpent in hand, right? Because then this is just
Definitely as well.
paying 1,000 for a random pitch. And Jinzo. Yep, Jinzo.
Or he
And
just really-
Serpent.
probably the
He really
ideal.
doesn't want to see his hand.
Yeah. And if you got like duo, it's like
Up.
like they're all sort
There
of
it is.
1-for-1 trades in a way, but duo costs 1,000, and also
and you don't get the information.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Stop
Declan
looking at
should
mine.
add back their Serpent to make it a 1-for-1. But yeah, that was indeed a painful choice, G-Lam. And yeah, it looks like
Very kind of Cole for reminding them about that.
yeah. Well, I hope they're not watching the stream. I
There's
want as many
nothing like-
people to watch the stream as possible, but yeah, if you're watching the stream and playing at the same time, it's a bit tricky to commentate. So yeah.
There's nothing like watching your friends play and they're forgetting Serp. You're like,
Yeah, it's like
Fuck.
oh.
oh,
That's the classic,
Oh.
you know, where it's just
is
Yeah,
this a PG-13 stream?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not monetized yet,
think we're
so you
at
could
the-
probably go
Yeah.
out, into R-rated territory if you want. But
always forget
yeah.
the fucking serpent.
Yeah.
well, there's a
Oh.
serpent as well, so it looks like
Yeah.
Koya, you were right that
Of course I'm right.
I'm
course I'm right.
just not a fan of sending serpent off painful. It's like, it's not terrible. Like, I mean, the thing is about sending serpent off painful, you need to like send bad cards with it, and I guess the hand rips are bad late game, so it's like not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. I think like if everyone's already sending handers, especially because he plays Trap Dust Shoot, it's like if you just send 4 of those and then Serpent, you basically just got yourself a Rhoda.
Yeah, but like if you're playing effectively 5 hand rips, which it looked like Cole is, then sending all the hand rips seems much better to me. Because then you guaranteed get a hand rip.
Yeah, as they did there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Serpent needs to be like paired with like a charity.
I don't
in
even
my
think
opinion, for it
then
to be
like
worth
I
it.
don't
They
like-
play Regeki Break too, so that
So like if you send serpent, like your opponent's always giving you the serpent, and even with the charity, it's
Mhm.
like it's
Hey,
kind of
hey,
weird. 'cause
I
it's
big
like-
brained it and I gave them the witch, and it would have worked if not for bottomless.
I think honestly, it would have just been better to give them the serpent there either way, because like
But I really wanted the guy.
no, I know you wanted the Deathstroke, and like the bottomless did stop
Yeah.
the Deathstroke plan, but like
Mhm.
I don't know, the serpent's a lot less risky there.
Yeah. It was definitely a risk, like for sure. But I was trying to big brain. I was like, if I can get this and like he sticks, like I'm golden.
yeah,
I was not golden.
yeah. Well, bottomless was an interesting tech against Terror King there. So I'm curious if it's in
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
game
I
now.
was like, oh, Mirror Force, Torrential. I don't care about any of that.
Yeah, but bottomless.
Lo and behold, the one thing I care about.
Yeah, bottomless on Terror
Like,
King,
that
always
could-
unfortunate.
I
Yeah.
think bottomless is underplayed.
It could be good
Ah.
in the side deck, like
I-
especially if they're playing like beaters and all.
So
Yeah.
the reason I don't think bottomless is underplayed is because TT's at 3, and also bottomless hits not really that much in this format. Or at least not really that much that like other removal cards wouldn't hit. So I'm not the biggest fan of bottomless, and deck space is already really tight. So that's my read on it. But it's definitely something to experiment with, and like one of the downsides to sort of blazing through a format a month is that we really can't sort of dive super super deep into like, okay, let's fully optimize these things, try out all these different tech cards and see what works there. And so maybe if people like experiment with Vampire more in the future and like really dive into it, they'll find the bottomless is good. But just from like sort of a cursory reading of things, I feel like it's just not necessarily the best.
Granted,
Yeah.
bottomless being underplayed is like the reason why you can even rock Archfiends in the first place. Because if Archfiends ever becomes like a deck people even remotely fear, they could just side it in, and it's like it's terrible. You die, like you just can't win.
And
Yeah,
it's
that
interesting because
definitely-
this is one of the reasons why I wanted to make the discussion video that I made this week about like how the discussion about good decks like changes for retro formats. Because I do think that like, and this was spurred by just a more general talk in the Yu-Gi-Oh community that I saw, but like people were talking about how in the modern day, like people can basically win tournaments with a variety of different things, and it really comes down to the skill of the player. And that's also true in like old formats. Like you need to be a skillful player to pilot certain decks to victory. But like I do think that like there's a lot less chances of like a surprise deck just winning based on surprise consistently. Like it could win maybe one tournament that way, but then people are going to prepare for it, right? And when people are preparing for it, signing things in for it, it can basically hate a deck out of tier 1, right? Like if Archfiends ever did become like a tier 1 deck, then people are going to be preparing for it. And if the deck folds to any sort of side deck preparation, then it probably will fall out of the metagame. And
Absolutely, like what are you gonna do? Like
Yeah.
Book of Moon your own guy and then not be able to flip it back up? Like,
yeah, so it's
But I think to be fair to the bottomless tech against them, I think an advantage that the Archfiends do have is that they don't have bad defenses for what the meta has, at least currently. So setting them isn't like the worst thing ever if you really wanted to play around bottomless, right? Because at
yeah,
that point they're
but
probably
like
going to take out their knocks.
sometimes you do just set Terra King and hope that they attack into it with like a Sangin or something.
yeah, but it's more just like
Mhm.
it not necessarily about bottomless specifically against Archfiends, just more like if bottomless ever does
Yeah.
become relevant to hate out a certain deck, then that deck will get hated out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's like I get it. It's like as an example, would say like burn decks. They have the issue like they have to worry about them just siding into all the burn hate, right? So
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's another example if you want.
yeah, like
From
Decree
Vibrant
really
potentially-
slams Panda Burn.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see if that will come up in the other games, and if Blah potentially makes it to the finals, maybe we'll see that as well. But
Oh yeah, I forgot Decree's just out. That's
yeah,
crazy.
Decree is pretty much a staple side deck card in my opinion, because like I've played against different like Panda Burn decks and stuff in testing in this format. Not all the those duels have showed up on video yet, but Decree just like really like once Decree's up, they just have such a it's basically dry tier bust.
Yeah.
And because there's just
It
so few
basically
ways to deal with
requires it to be mandatory at least, even in the main, have MST's potential just because of that
Yeah.
too.
I mean, I think MSTs in the main is not bad for burn either because like Mirage still exists, right? IO
Yeah.
exists. Like there are things that you want to snipe with MST. But
As long as Mirage is around, MST at 3 is gonna be justifiable.
yeah.
Yeah, for
Snatch
sure.
on the Serpent for Hades. I think that is the correct way to do that. Because then you can negate
Makes
the
sense,
Serpent when
yeah.
that comes back on the following. But
Yeah, that's actually
uh,
sick. These monsters are crazy. Like they kill Serpent forever. Like
yeah. Oh, there's some actually interesting questions about burn in the YouTube chat. Pendergast21 says, "Howdy, been out of the game after synchros and before pendulums. Is that burn deck still chain based?" And if you're talking about like chain burn, like using chain strike and stuff, that comes out in Cyberdark Impact, which is in GX. So we haven't quite reached that point yet.
Right.
But the burn
Oh.
decks do require a lot of like chain linking. So for instance,
Mhm.
like firing Ojama Trio, Secret Barrel, Just Search, etc. in the correct order. And often
Mhm.
those big chain links like can just end the game.
Yeah.
But Awesome Billy
Yeah.
Bob Joe, who is a bit of an expert in burn, there's Samwise Gamgee. They say, I strongly dislike Panda Burn. I think it is an inferior version of Burn. So that's very interesting to see as from a GOAT perspective, like a lot of people in GOAT, Panda Burn is like the superior form of Burn there. Or at least that's how it's thought of. So
Yeah, no, I don't know. I just like, come on. I love the panda guy. Like Panda's really cute. You
yeah,
know,
Panda
that's why
is
it's the
fun,
best.
and Ojama Trio pairs with it very very well.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to do. But yeah, looks
And
like
you get to win with a panda. Like I think that makes it superior just by itself, right?
yeah.
Yes.
Um. Oh yeah. Also. Oh yeah. That's a good point. Raynance. Raynance asks, "Do you mean chain burn or chain energy?" And I think the chain energy could still have a place in a panda burn sort of deck.
Hmm.
Because you just
Yeah.
commit all your back row fire chain energy, and then you're probably golden.
Yeah. It's great with Deskawala too, as well, if they're playing that.
Yeah.
So
G-Lamb, I disagree. I think Cyberdark Impact at the time was looked at as real bad. Looking back on it, it had so many good cards.
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
they mentioned like the barrier statues, chain burn, instant fusion, snipe hunter. But I do think
in
like
Vandy speed.
it
Like
it
but
depends
there's like
on
sets that have no redeemable cards. Like
Yeah.
it really depends on like what you mean by a good set. Like, is a set good if it like has an impact on the metagame it comes out in, or is it good if it like has staples that become relevant years down the line?
well, I mean, Chainburn became like a deck, right? And it like
Yeah.
topped a lot in like 08, 09 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, honestly too, with like you have the Vandy's cards in there. It was sort of like I know like yeah, but like I know like MBT would often like progression style series talk about like using Mausoleum with them, and like that was out at that time, and it's like, what if there was like potential to just maybe run like a deck with like these big monsters that just have these effects that prevent your opponent from playing, you
Yeah.
know?
No,
But
that's definitely something that
yeah.
I'll be experimenting with when we get Mausoleum. I believe that comes out in the Felgrand Dragon structure deck. Um,
Oh, let's go,
I
Felgrand.
I think I
yeah,
could be
or
wrong.
I think it was in GX. That's the thing. I
Yeah.
think
Well, that the
it
Felgrand
was
structure deck was also in GX, I believe, right? Or no?
yeah.
No. That yeah, it was in GX because Foolish came out in
Yeah, okay.
GX, right? Foolish Burial.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was in the Felgrand structure deck. So
Yeah.
I could
I
also be
think I don't know.
misremembering when Mausoleum came out, what product it was in.
Yeah, because I remember when I was trying to build, I like there was that whole Stein format. I wanted to play a few games in it, and I was trying to build like a Mausoleum deck, and I think it was legal around that time, but I'm not so certain. It just
Mausoleum
I
is
think it was
bold in a format with Stein OTK.
yeah, it is, but I don't know, but like I guess the point being is that you're summoning Fiend, and it's like what do they do? You
Yeah.
know, against Fiend.
G-Lim brings up a good point about Cyberdark Impact though. That like all the common and rare cards are like the good cards, and then the foils are just trash. Which is very good point. You do see some experimentation with like Cyberdark in future formats. before they get their like next wave of support, which I think is pretty cool. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That is actually pretty a fair critique, though, is that definitely the hollows weren't always the best.
Yeah, Awesome
Of
Billy
Cyber
Bob
Guard
Joe
Impact.
also mentions in the comments, not gonna lie, this feels like a YouTube short with a game playing off to the side, while the main thing is the people talking about random Yu-Gi-Oh things. It can often develop into that, unfortunately. Just the format of the locals. Yeah, it starts off with a lot of gameplay when it's just myself, and then it sort of turns into just discussing random things. But I'll try and get more of the gameplay on focus here. Unfortunately, the end of that last game, not much was going on in terms of interesting gameplay. But this game hopefully
Yeah.
we'll get some more interesting stuff going down.
Okay.
Maybe it just means that the YGO from Zero podcast has to happen. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be cool to do. Just a weekly podcast about all things Yu-Gi-Oh. Going for Rhoda early and then going for Graceful. I'm not sure how I feel about that ordering of things. I generally, in this format, since there are different options to go into off Rhoda, I like to save it for after I've done stuff. Just so I can like have a potential out to certain things, and so my opponent doesn't know certain things in hand. But yeah, I don't know. That's just me. But there are different ways to
Like,
play.
I think. Yeah, no, the thing is too about it is that if you do have that card you already want to see, and if you have a lot of other good cards in hand, you can always just then send the Rhoda as well for your charity in
Yeah.
that instance. At
Which-
least,
I guess
yeah.
it also depends on like the hand, right? Like if you just have a couple warriors anyways, you might just be like, yeah,
Yeah, no,
just
that
get that out of
makes
the way.
sense. And we don't know how many warriors
That
they're
too.
playing in deck. Some other comments there. It seems like Awesome Billy Bowser says, I think it's funny though, random Yu-Gi-Oh podcast going on. So it looks like people don't really hate the sort of discussion with the gameplay in the background.
If we reach 1,000 subs before the end of the stream, B-Sox will be forced to make a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm down. Oh, it would be very funny to see. Maybe a Patreon podcast. So to get more.
Finally, you figured out what you could put in the Patreon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also Pendergast
Along with
21
getting
asks,
those packs.
Pendergast 21 asks a very important question. What software are we rocking here? I recently got Master Duel just to play Monarchs again. This software is actually a website known as Dueling Book. So it's in browser. It's a manual simulator. So that means that like you do have to sort of like manually queue in everything. The effects don't happen automatically. You've got to trigger them yourself. But I do think that sort of allows you to get to know the game a bit better, get to know your decks a bit better, and makes you ultimately a better player, even though it's slightly annoying going from Master Duel to this at the beginning. So I recommend.
I certainly
checking it out.
think that the jarring part is just you don't get like the flashing thing, like you can activate this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that too.
But it does mean that you have to remember that, and I think that does make you a better player overall because like then you actually sort of are planning things out. Like, okay, I need to remember that I can do this, and this is why I'm remembering that I need to do this, and things like that. Lad Russo also said I like the random discussion, so yeah, we'll keep the random discussion going. And Awesome Billy Bob Joe says Dueling Book is superior to Master Duel in every way. And honestly, I can feel that. Like, I do think
Master
It
Duel.
depends on what you want to get out of it.
Oh yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
that too.
More so the thing.
Master Duel is very pretty. It's got some really good music.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I also
the
do
Master
think
Duel
that
music is so good.
like some of the sort of events are pretty cool. Like the ones that like limit you to a certain deck building challenge and then has a bunch of people playing those. Like that's pretty cool, and you wouldn't necessarily get the same amount of people playing if you held that on like Dueling Book versus Master Duel. So I think it's good.
Yeah,
for that
I
love
the True Draco format. I mean the Synchro Festival and the.
I mentioned I'm a degenerate. That's give me some True Draco.
No.
Yeah.
I've never actually played a
Draco,
True Draco deck, but I've liked what I've seen.
We'll get there in 2030. Don't
Yeah,
you worry.
it was the best synchro deck because you would summon Metaltron and then summon the synchro out of it, right? Like,
Yeah, right.
yeah, Metaltron. That was the whole strategy.
Pendergast 21
Draco.
says saw Sinister Serpent on there. Does Dueling Book have a format where I can Sinister Serpent, enemy controller, Monarch? Don't even care if it's good. So Dueling Book actually, so its official formats that it has are Goat Edison and just the advanced format. But you can pretty much play any format you want to on Dueling Book. You can even do like progression series stuff where you're playing just random cards together from all periods of the game's history. But if you want like an official like historical format where you can do that, I believe when Ancient Sanctuary comes out, we'll have Zaborg, Enemy Controller, and Serpent all legal. So you'll be able to do it there. You won't quite have the full Monarch package, but it will be available to do. Oh, Fairy Lily here
Treeborn
is
has to.
pretty big. Coming down, hitting into
Yeah.
34.
Hello.
Hello, welcome
Hey,
back.
Blah.
How'd your game go?
I lost.
Okay, I'll put
No.
that
Yay!
on. And
Rest in peace, Panda.
yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't
If they
Panda.
put Time Wizard formats on Master Duel, I'm so happy.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
That would be great. Yeah, G-Lam, very good suggestion. I would love that too.
Like I remember when YouTubers were trying to do like retro format Yu-Gi-Oh, but in Master Duel, and it was really funny with all the erratas. Things just did not work, but it was
Yeah.
still entertaining.
Master Duel is also
But it's interesting. Yeah.
it is missing certain things, like Ultimate Offering, for instance. Like I remember when MBT did a video on Yugi Kaiba in Master Duel, and it's just like, well, no Ultimate Offering, so I guess the format's completely different because Ultimate Offering is such an integral part to Yugi Kaiba. Oh, that's very funny.
I
Normal
didn't even
summon
think
Fire
Daniel
Lily
mirrors,
game.
baby. Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
I
not
just played
quite
Soul
so,
Control
but-
mirrors, but yeah. Oh.
The normal summon Fiber Jar is crazy.
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
my
it was
goodness.
going
Well-
for lethal, so worked out. And
Man.
looks like Cole does not have an
TJ's
out to it now.
TJ's
Yeah.
basically playing anti-burn.
Are they
Okay.
playing like anti-burn in the main, or was that just side deck stuff coming in?
I have no idea. I didn't get to watch his duels.
Didn't you
But
play against him?
Amazonas Archer. And he just kept drawing stupidly well.
Did
I
the
guess you should
Amazonas
have drawn
Archer come
better.
down
I
game
don't know.
1, or was that just games 2 and 3?
It came down game 2. I was 2-0'd.
Okay, but
Oh.
not game 1. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they're on
No.
anti-burn. It means that they might have an anti-burn side deck strategy. Which I mean they could be playing Amazonas Archer in the main.
Amazon is
sure.
Archer in the main sounds very funny.
Yeah, I mean, I know some
yeah.
Amazonas builds that people were experimenting with were playing Amazonas Archer in the main because it's one of the better Amazonas cards at this time period, which is a bit
Yeah.
unfortunate to
Yeah,
say. But
we don't
you know,
have many good ones.
yeah.
Yeah.
Declan's thinking here. They might have something to do
Mm.
here.
Like if you think about it, the best Amazonas card is the one that can like kamikaze itself for some damage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
swordsman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's super cool to me. I think the Amazonas burn deck that sort of arose in breaker format is really cool. It needs some more
Mhm.
experimentation. Although in this format,
Oh,
the
yeah.
burn deck
Definitely
I'm
agree.
gonna focus on is Panda Burn.
For
and
sure.
I'm-
In this
Yeah.
format, by the way, if anyone in chat wants to try Amazonas Burn, it gets like way different because you could just like use Amazonas Archers plural
yeah,
on the
which
on Ojama Trio and just do 5 billion damage.
I'm really not a fan
Yeah.
of that strat though, because the only way that works is if your opponent doesn't know about the combo.
Well, what
ooh,
would they do to like
call
stop
here.
it?
Not attack. Because
Like, I mean,
Amazonas Archers requires you to actually attack
Yeah,
while you
that's
control
true.
Amazon. So
I mean, if they don't want to attack, that's fine. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine, but like eventually they will draw an out, and then that's just it is what it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, G-Lam says,
Like,
"Sword
I
Woman,
think-
the bane of my 9-year-old existence," and yeah, that is quite a playground Yu-Gi-Oh card. But
Yeah. And also to Duel Links players as well, since
oh yeah,
that was,
yeah,
there's so much
Amazon is
history with
very
that.
different in Duel Links in terms of meta relevance compared to the TCG.
Yeah.
Although that was also using a very different set of Amazoness monsters overall.
They do get
Yeah.
a new one at some point soon, like the one that steals something from the opponent's hand.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't know
Chain
what
Master,
it's-
yeah.
it is.
I believe that was a
Yeah.
Chain
promo.
Master, legitimately like a really good card.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that it's definitely one worth experimenting with. Because it's basically like a hand rip, but it's also like a hand steal. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is just a +1. The only problem is that it only can be destroyed by battle, but like people still play Mystic Tomato.
that's true.
And
Uh,
also the 1500 is a lot, but
1500 is a good amount, but like if I had a spell that would just be like, okay, pay 1500 life points, look at your opponent's hand and take a card from it, I mean,
Yeah, not bad.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's still good. I think it's a very underrated card, in my opinion.
mhm.
Yeah.
Ooh, dark hole on the turtle and then set. That is
Let's
very
go.
interesting. What do we think that set card
Yeah.
is? I can't. Maybe a faith. I feel like
Could
faith is the only
be.
thing that makes sense there, right?
It's going to be exactly Des Lakuta, I
Could be
promise.
Cyberjar, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it can't be
Coulda-
faith
coulda
because it can't be faith because Nobleman hit a faith earlier. But spy is interesting because there are no spies left in deck.
Yeah.
But it looks like oh yeah, no targets, yeah. Okay, that
I was
makes
gonna
sense.
say it's still the premier defender just as itself, but it's actually not because we got the 2100 guy.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like
Yeah.
awesome Billy Bob Joe mentions we got a few more subscribers. Yeah. Welcome to the
Let's
channel,
go.
people.
go.
Oh, yep.
Where we at?
Ring on Spy will do it.
We're at 995. That's actually crazy.
Yeah,
Okay,
5
so
away. 4
we're
away
f-
from the
we're
janky
5
burn mirror.
we're also
That's
5.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're 5 away from the
Inflation.
podcast.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to
Yeah.
put some plan into that if that becomes a thing.
I said it as a joke, guys. Please don't subscribe that fast. Come on,
yeah.
Come on.
Well, if you want it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly
Yeah.
what we talk about, and I will
This,
say
all
if
of
y'all
this.
if y'all want a good Yu-Gi-Oh podcast as well, there's Pot of Greed by the Team APS guys.
It's so
one's,
good.
That one's pretty good. So I'm
And
not
they
sure
talk
how we'll
about
do that.
everything, right?
Yeah, there's also I Am Nerd as well. Who for the I mean they talk about other things besides Yu-Gi-Oh, but for the Yu-Gi-Oh side of things, they mainly talk about like Edison. But that's also very, very good as well. And yeah, so a lot of good Yu-Gi-Oh podcasts out there. I'm not sure we'd be as good as that, but you know, we could try it out and see how it works.
Yeah.
We'll be the
Oh.
best one.
Maybe like one way of doing it could be like maybe having well, I guess the streams already do that for the interviews.
Yeah.
Or so, but it could be a thing to maybe consider like maybe taking sections of that from the streams and putting them into their own video.
Yeah, it could
You
be
know?
a clip show.
Yeah.
Just put the entire stream on Apple Music.
Yeah.
Yes.
Best podcast ever. People would be like, "What is going on here at the start?" Because before
Yeah.
yeah, Declan. I think Declan is from Italy. I think. I could be wrong. There's just a lot of Italian Yu-Gi-Oh
Nice.
players. But yeah, 3 a.m.
And Germans.
Yeah,
DK
and German-
Zero.
and you know Brits and all that stuff. So wide variety
3 a.m.
of
is
Europeans.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think outside of like North America, I think the largest demographic is like from Europe and South America. I think those are the other two big continents. So I guess with Asia they've got like the OCG. And also like Asia, like mainland Asia has its own version of the TCG, I think.
OCG. Korea has its own OCG. So does
Ugh.
China.
Yeah.
Southeast Asia is getting Asian English cards again.
Yeah, I saw the
Okay.
commercial
That's
for
a-
that.
You
That's
know,
cool.
every day I'm more and more thankful that we play the TCG.
Yeah, I
Very
mean,
stunned.
so that's one of the things, like, for me personally, like, I wanted to restrict the channel to the TCG because it's just the one I've got the most nostalgia with. And also, like, covering all the different formats out there in their entire histories would be a bit much. So, yeah.
Pretty sure we would
Yeah.
still be like in like I don't know silly snake format if we did everything.
Yeah,
Like,
I think we'd be
Oh, no.
even
If-
before that. We'd be,
Oh no, we wouldn't even be in 2002 yet.
yeah.
Though I think we might be in 2001, but 2001
we would be
can
getting
get
out of the
pretty-
1990s.
Yeah.
2001 would be pretty quick.
Oh,
It's
Dushu
just a
coming
bunch
up.
of OTK.
Dushu
Alright.
It's just a
coming up.
bunch of OTKs.
Yeah.
From
we
that
love
point on.
OTKs.
Yeah.
That's,
Buy out your dust shoots,
Yeah.
everyone.
That's another reason.
It's OP.
That's another reason why I want to just cover the TCG is because the early OCG is a lot more broken than the early TCG.
and generally speaking, I feel like they did a pretty good job with like the cards we got, like the ban lists and everything, like it kind of worked out
Yeah, for the
generally.
TCG, yeah.
Yes.
And
That I keep mentioning it. The list is designed to curate the formats, so they're
Yeah,
going
they
to
did a good
degenerate.
job. Yeah, for
yeah, well,
Madness.
we also mentioned earlier in the stream that occasionally they forgot things like Triple
Yeah.
Scientist maybe shouldn't have been at 3 during Breaker. Same with Triple
Scientist
DD Warrior
wasn't
Lady and
forgotten.
Vampire.
Oops,
But like
daisy.
ultimately, like
Scientist.
even despite those oversights, I think that the formats themselves are not bad. Like Breaker, despite having the FDK in it, it's still playable. The FDK is not
Yeah.
tier 0. So it
Mhm.
works out for the long run.
Yeah.
About Scientist and DD Warrior Lady, they weren't exactly oversights.
Now,
Scientist at that point,
wait,
I'm trying to explain this.
Since one of the commenters has to go, I want to quickly answer their question, and then we'll get back into what you were saying. So before we do, Pendergast 21 says, "Got to bounce here soon. Subbed and loving it. Before I go, given the current card pool on Dueling Book, what's the best Exodia deck?" So it depends on which format you're playing on Dueling Book. So I don't know as much about Exodia in the sort of modern format. But for
Ignite
yeah,
Exodia is like sort of the
Yeah,
thing.
just
Yeah.
go watch Jeff
Play
Leonard.
Leonard,
yeah,
Like,
like that
Yeah.
would be
Yeah.
If you want modern.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then for Edison and Goat, I don't really think people play it there, but there are probably, if you look up
Well-
like Edison Exodia or Goat Exodia, I'm sure there's
yeah,
someone who's
Edison
made
Exodia.
a video.
No. So Edison Exodia, it was this really old deck that people used to play before people found out you could just like play big dragons and kill people with that way.
Yeah, like Dragon
People just play
Turbo.
like Dragon Exodia. Yeah,
Dragon
people just play like Dragon
Exodia,
Exodia
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
That was like
Goat.
a deck that was really popular when I played when I was a kid.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that would
Goat's
be
best. Goat's best build is Emissary Exodia.
oh yeah, that
We don't
makes
have.
sense.
They don't
Oh,
have
right.
Magical Mallet yet.
Yeah,
They don't have
that's
Magical
true.
Mallet yet.
Yeah, so
the
Emissary,
library
like
build
playing
isn't
Emissary
consistent enough.
of the
I
Afterlife.
think it
and
depends
then-
on what type of Exodia deck you want, right? Because it's like there's Stall Exodia,
Yeah.
and then if you want like a really fast like draw Exodia, you can do Dragon Exodia and Edison. And then Modern, obviously, it's just like if you don't get interrupted, you just find Exodia because any two monsters makes Ice Hold, and then you go from there.
And then if you're talking
Mhm.
about the
Pretty
formats
much.
I guess-
that we've played on the channel, the YGO from Zero channel,
Mhm.
I've got a fair amount of Exodia videos for pretty much each of the formats that we've covered. Some of them, Exodia is just really, really bad, so I didn't feature it in the formats. But
And some of them are a little too good.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if you just sort of search on my channel for Exodia videos, you should be able to find those as well.
In fact, watch
and-
all of them in order.
Yeah, no, I mean that's honestly, watch as many as you
I
want to,
helped
and-
with Exodia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
I helped.
that's true.
With
That's
which
true.
Exodia?
Now
Imperial
the Imperial
Exodia.
one.
Oh yeah. So Imperial does have backup soldier, which can help bring Exodia back to hand. So yeah, Imperial is probably the last hurrah for Exodia for a bit. I mean, it can be playable in Joey Pegasus a little bit because you've got multiple charities. But there,
Yeah, you can play Dragon Exodia. You just shouldn't. Like,
Well, yeah, and
Yeah.
then Dragon
That's in
Exodia
Fiber.
comes into like Fiber.
Yeah.
And that, I thought that deck was pretty fun, even though it was definitely not that good.
oh,
but
it's
yeah,
like
so there's a lot
resolving
out
like
there.
double graceful charity with Rejuve is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so
Yeah,
hope that helped.
alright.
I think
Pendergast 21. And yeah, thank you for the subscription, and hope that you continue to enjoy the vids, and also hop on over to the Discord server as well if you want to play the games for yourself with other people, and just find games.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
Like I actually think for like currently
So-
with Exodia, I know it's just I just want to quickly say something with it. I feel like with a lot of like since there's a lot more burn tools now, maybe a way to play it is just like do Exodia burn. Where even if they get rid of the win condition, right, you still can just win through damage instead. So yeah.
I generally don't really like that sort of deck, because then it's like you're just playing a worse burn deck, right? Like so.
This sounds like Final Countdown with extra steps.
Yeah, it's like I generally
Yeah.
don't like those sorts of like, well, if they get rid of the win con, I can play this other deck with a different win con, because then it's like,
Mhm.
well, you're just playing a worse version of that other deck with a different win con, so why not just play that deck, right? So that's like my sort of feeling on those sorts of things. Other people can
But if it's
do it
more so
differently.
like if you're Yeah, no, it's more so of like if you like Exodia, then this is probably the best way to play it. Not necessarily like,
No, but then
oh, this is the best one.
I mean, it
Yeah.
depends on what you mean by best, right? Do you mean like playing it? Do you mean the version of the deck that will win you the most games, or do you mean the version of the deck that will win you with Exodia the most times? Because if you want the version of the deck that will win you the most games, just playing 5 Exodia pieces in a regular good stuff deck is probably going to be okay, right? Like, you'll have 5 bricks in the deck, but the
Really?
35 other cards are going
I
to be
don't
pretty
know about
good.
that one.
Yeah. I wonder,
So
like,
I don't know about
technically,
yeah.
if you wanted to play Exodia Burn, you could just play like Exodia Necros, because then like you could just theoretically sit
rip.
behind
See
them
ya,
unless your
G-Lam.
opponent
Thanks for tuning
draws.
in.
Unless your opponent draws one of the many outs to Exodia Necros.
Well,
but then you
Exodia
can just,
Yeah,
like,
Necros
no.
is something that I will be experimenting with as well. Although that will not necessarily be going just into Exodia for the win con. It will be going into Exodia Necros for the win con.
Yeah,
which
God.
is I think I'll
Which is
probably
a
have to
win
play
con.
Prohibition calling DD Warrior Lady in that deck.
Yeah.
But
And
That
then you'll
deck is
also just
sweet.
start every single game with Painful Choice. Just every
Or
single
maybe
game.
like
Yeah.
honestly, probably the way to play it is like you go reasoning, so you can just mill like all the Exodia pieces. To be honest, I
yeah,
That's
then if
pretty
you
good.
hit the
So-
head, you're losing.
So
like it,
hear me out. I
Yeah.
think Exodia Necros does have some potential with Metamorphosis, because you do want to summon the pieces anyways. They just become Thousand Eye Restricts.
Oh, that's I mean, that makes
maybe.
sense.
Yeah.
If only Exodia Necros had like a decent level and wasn't just like level 4.
Bro, it's
Oh,
just a
that
level
too.
4. Why couldn't you just be
Yeah.
like a level 8 or so? Like, they can
I
might,
know,
you know?
right.
Well, actually,
Level
there's
5 would
no
make sense.
there's no meta target for level 8 in this
Yeah.
format.
Although I guess if
Yeah.
you have Exodia Necros, you just kind of want the guy, but like the pieces, you do want to send them away. I just don't know what else you would put in the deck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very tricky deck. I'll try and build it. There are a lot of just like Dark Crisis. If we're talking about bad sets, calling back from earlier, Dark Crisis is probably one of the worst sets of the DM era. Not gonna lie.
Power level, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's like it's just, I mean, it released some good cards. Like DD Warrior Lady is definitely very good. You have like Skill Drain, which is obviously very good in certain decks. But like overall, like Tsukiyomi as well. Like overall,
Yeah.
though, it's
Yeah.
like the set.
But then again, you look at the Guardian cards and you're like, "Ugh."
Yeah, I mean the
Yeah.
Guardian cards are like, I think they're honestly the worst deck in the game thus far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
And
like average for that pack.
No, I think Moth and Gate Guardian are still worse, but definitely
You're
third.
right.
No,
actually.
that's true.
actually,
Yeah.
well,
You're-
yeah, I
I
guess
think
so.
you're right. Like, you can set
Here, yeah.
Kayes, right? You can set Kayes, and if they attack into it, it's a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The funniest thing to
Yeah.
me is that like Chaos, there's so many anti-synergies with the Guardian cards. It's not even funny. Like
Yeah.
if you do want to like have a Guardian on your side of the field and you equip it with like Chaos, right? And then you summon out Chaos. You then can't equip other equips to that Guardian that you've equipped with Chaos because Chaos
I
will
love it.
destroy the other equip cards on it. It is just it's just so silly. Also, Seal
It's great.
sends, it does not destroy, so you can't trigger it with Elma multiple times.
No.
Good night, G
And honestly-
even though you don't hear it.
No.
G-Lem's long
No.
gone.
Yeah, no, the
Yes.
thing is though is like
Uh.
even with Seal, like the thing that like you know how you like read a card, you think it's a lot better than expected. I thought it just had to you just needed an equip card on the field and you just send the equip card. But it has to be towards itself. So even
Yes.
if you equip it to a monster, it's just it became so much worse that I'm like, okay, I build a Guardian deck. I'm like, I'm just gonna focus on Growl because Growl can just be a big
Yeah.
monster.
Yeah, but
you
to bring
know?
out Grawl, you
Yeah.
need to equip an opponent's monster with an actual decent equip. So it's like
or even like
like the way I view
Yeah.
it is like the combo line starts with Seal because you equip the shooting bow to your opponent's monster, summon out Seal, and hit over it, right? And then you can equip other equips to Seal and bring out your other Guardians. It's either it starts with Seal or it starts with Chaos, just like setting Chaos and hoping that Chaos survives.
I
So-
just realized Guardian Bow has 800 attack. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Bow would have
Yeah.
been the strongest if it actually had decent stats because it's
It could.
I mean
Who would care if it was an 1800? Just give it to me. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
no, it's like
Yeah.
everything in the Guardian strategy is just like, come on, man. Like, why? Come on.
Did they
Almost all
think
of
it'd
it.
be too powerful? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
and they were
know.
like,
Yeah,
let's
no,
just
like
hamper it as much as possible. We can't give them any
yeah,
nice
and
things.
and the
hmm.
equip
Yeah,
that you're
okay.
like the equip that you're I guess quote unquote supposed to have it with is redundant because it already has the
Oh,
effect. The only thing good about it is that it gives you 500 in attack.
Yeah.
I will say,
Yeah.
the equip itself is like pretty neat, right? It just makes a
Mhm.
monster Hades, essentially,
Yeah,
right?
the equips
Yeah.
are interesting, but like the monsters themselves. Oh, I have to say the worst Guardian monster, like by far, is Trice. Trice is just god awful.
Yeah.
Like it's so. I think I went on a rant about it in the guide that I made
You did.
because it's like
Mhm.
basically the point of Trice is you tribute it out and you presumably tribute a Guardian monster to summon it. And then it's like when this card's destroyed, summon back that Guardian monster. Except the Guardian monsters can't be summoned if the equipped spells are not on the field. So
Yeah.
it's just like you're never getting
God.
back a Guardian that you tribute off it. Like
if they were
Yeah.
just a bit better, Trice wouldn't be that bad.
exactly, and that's the
Yeah.
thing with all the Guardians. It's like if they were just a little bit less restrictive, if the effects were like slightly more playable, maybe this archetype
I'm
could
not
have been
gonna
good.
lie. They could literally have just said like reveal this equip in your hand.
Yeah.
That would have been fine.
It would also been
Yeah.
more like synergistic because you'd actually be able to equip the like proper equip spells to your things.
Yeah, right. Wouldn't
Right.
that
For
make
the- yeah.
That
sense?
makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're
it
done.
actually does.
Now, looks
Declan
like,
won.
looks like
Yeah.
Reborn
Aw.
coming down. I don't think this was.
What was-
I
Oh,
mean,
Tribe.
the Reborn Tribe, yeah, but like I don't think it's the end of the game because
But I guess they didn't
it
have
depends on what
anything,
the
though.
set monster
No,
is, right?
it would. Yeah,
Because
and the
attack
set
Warrior Lady
cards.
into
It
Reaper.
next
Mhm.
turn. Yeah, that next turn would have been over if Cole didn't draw anything good.
Well,
Also, just
it also
forgot
depends on the
that.
flip monster right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MST, double MST.
Yeah, I'm curious
What
the
did Declan have?
yeah. Oh,
I also
Saku.
just
Saku.
forgot.
Sakuretsu armor.
Yeah, that was a fire
yeah.
jar. So potentially, yeah, you can't Reaper the. I mean,
No,
Fury
it wasn't
damage
over.
anyway.
Just draw phase.
Sakuretsu.
it was relatively over there, I guess. Yeah, because
Yeah.
God.
well, yeah, it was over because then they just flip up
All
the
right.
fiber jar, and then
Man,
get
I
a
love that
monster.
we're on Sakuretsu. I love that card.
Sakuretsu's
What a-
decent.
What a
got-
Not as-
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
There we go.
not as
I
good
mean-
as it is in GOAT format, but it is decent.
Well, yeah,
right
in
now.
GOAT format, like a bunch of like torrentials limited, for example, right? So
Yeah. the
Yeah.
reason
Fear Force
why-
is gone.
Yeah, the
All
reason
the power
why
cards are
Saku,
gone.
I think it's not really the good
I
this
saw.
format is because there's just so many
Oh.
other cards to play instead.
I'm
Yeah.
officially a clown.
deck
Yeah.
space is
Like-
so tight. I literally haven't fit
Yeah.
Fiber Jar in a deck in forever, and
Yeah,
it's such a good card.
it's one of the difficulties of deck building in this format, and I think it's been sort of this way. Like I mean, you could argue that it's been this way like since the DM era
Mhm.
started,
I'll be
right?
right
Because
back.
like
Yeah.
most decks have this core of just good cards that you play. But I think it became like very noticeable in terms of like space constraints in like Yada format.
Mhm.
And then since then it's just gotten even tighter and tighter.
People have been
because
putting
you've got-
Delinquent Duo to the side. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird, but like the randomness of Duo and the fact that it can backfire if your opponent has like a serpent,
Yeah.
it can come up and
Mhm.
At least like hand knowledge is
And
something you
we're
can.
into the finals.
Absolutely. Also,
yeah, into the
Forceful
finals.
Sentry is
Good
just like
run, Cole,
free.
though.
Let it be known I opened Pot of Greed, Graceful Charity, Duo, Confiscation, Trap Dust Shoot, and I lost.
Wow.
Aw.
I mean, that
that-
shows it really does
Dang.
show that like, people do complain about the power cards in this format like warping things. And that definitely is fair. Like there are games that have won
Well,
or
he only
lost
won because of Fiber
based-
Jar, so that's still legitimate.
Well, Fiber Jar, that's why
Too
Fiber
many
Jar
good
is so
stuff
important
one-ups.
because Fiber
Mhm.
Jar can equalize you again, right? If you're
And
using
also, if he had called the Haunted Sangen to defend his life points, I had Forceful in hand to send the Fiber back, but he crashed on his turn.
yeah, and I mean that's a smart play there.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it shows that with like
Yeah.
skillful play you can sort of equalize that sort of deficit that you get early on.
But that was my
Declan
first
is
ever
really good.
semifinals, so I had
Yeah.
a great.
I'm glad he's back.
Yeah, he made it to finals too, so congratulations for
Yeah.
that. And awesome Billy Bob Jeff says too many good stuff one-ofs, and I think that's definitely a fair thing to opinion to have. I
Okay.
personally view it as like very sort of iconic because a lot of the one-ofs are just very, very iconic cards, and you never really get to play with them in a way that feels like somewhat fair. Because, like, for instance, think of GOAT, right? Like, you've got Pot, Graceful, Duo, and that's like the trinity that everyone hates, basically, right? Because, like, it can be so game warping there. But when you have so many one-ofs, it's like, well, not necessarily as bad because my opponent's using powerful one-ofs, but I've got my own powerful one-ofs. So,
Pretty sure you can legitimately just build a well-functioning good stuff deck just off the limited list.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
No.
it was funny.
No.
It was funny because a couple formats ago, I think I tried out a deck that was just limited cards. And it was just like the limited list exactly because there's an exactly 40 card limited list and semi-limited list, and so you could actually do that.
And it looked exactly like a normal deck.
Yeah. 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 Awesome Billy
that's
Bev
so
Joe says, I
funny.
missed Fiber Jar when I was crafting my deck in the 20 minutes before the game started. Yeah, it's like
Oh,
there are just so
no.
many things that you can potentially miss.
Mhm.
Especially when like there's just like so many things to juggle in this format. In terms of deck
Absolutely.
building. But that's part of what makes it so fun,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Like I've
And the
really been
fiber
enjoying
really
Vampire so far.
does matter. Yeah.
You know, I just realized actually, Guardian Trice literally
Ooh.
works better outside of its own archetype, where you could just like, I don't know, like use Soul Exchange, tribute an
Boys.
opponent's monster, and bring it back when it's destroyed. Does that work
that's
that way?
true. That's a really neat tech.
Well,
Yeah.
Or Change of Heart it too. And yeah.
Yeah. Like
a
if you
really
tribute
neat
an
tech.
opponent's monster, it doesn't say your graveyard; it says the graveyard.
Wait,
That's true.
is Thorn run
Really
in
now?
Warrior, or is this a Dark Scorpion deck?
It looks like it might be a mix of both.
Because I
It's-
ran a deck like this where it was just running Thorn, but like it just searches itself, so it's kind of like a weird gadget. It's like a defensive
Yeah,
gadget.
Thorn is
Yeah.
literally just like a resource loop with herself. It's very funny.
Yeah. And it's
Interesting.
one of those cool things that I think people like rediscover upon revisiting these formats. Just like these neat sort of deck ideas that no one was really looking at the time because partially people were a lot less sort of knowledgeable about different principles of the game, right? Like just card advantage, right? But also because it's just like a really out there strategy. Like it's not something that you'd necessarily think of when first looking at this card from a strategy that just seems like such a bad archetype, right? Because Dark Scorpions as a whole, not really that good. But
Well,
like
we'll
individually,
ignore the Makiura
Thorn-
loop.
yeah, well,
yeah.
that's why I say individually.
Me and
right?
the Thorn
But-
is incredible.
Yeah, but if you're
Yeah,
playing,
especially with DD
Yeah.
Warrior ladies running around.
I mean, Monet saw play in a Tengu format tournament or
Yeah.
deck that got like what, third
Yeah.
place or something.
yeah, wasn't that
Crusher
using
control.
like Gen X Ally Crusher as well or something? And like you summon
Yeah,
Main
and Monet is
Giga
just an
Arc
easily
and-
dark normal monster that just gets another one of itself.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is super cool.
Really good.
And I mean, I don't know. It's just awesome to see the Dark Scorpions doing things individually. I think the only one that has never been relevant is Gorg the Strong.
Yeah.
And because
He's
Gorg,
so bad.
yeah, Gorg is just
Dude.
really bad. Like its effects are the
Dude, when
worst
I
of any
first-
of them. Like it's a tribute monster. It's just it's so bad.
Dude, when I first saw that card, it was in one of the Game Boy games, and I
Mm.
was like, "This seems pretty good." I, like added it to my deck, and I was like, "Why can't I normal summon it?" And I was like, "Wait,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
was
would be
right
it would be
there.
nice as a 4-star, wouldn't it?
I remember I just liked
Yeah.
it because it looked so cool. Like it's got such a cool
Yeah.
design. It's got like a sort of mace, and that's like dope.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh, Gorg is cool, and Gorg's got a cool name. It's Gorg,
Yeah.
You can't even like soul exchange it because you need the battle phase for the Dark Scorpion
Yeah,
deck.
so it's
Yeah.
like it's just very very awkward. And
I will say though, it's a decent effect. It's just not, it's
Yeah.
not worth it.
I mean, it's definitely the worst of them. I think the second worst has probably got to be Chick because Chick has only really been relevant in a specific Makira combo.
Using multiple banned cards.
Yeah, and it was never, I think, legal in the TCG. I think it was only legal in the OCG. Even
Yeah.
though
Brief period.
Chick
Like,
did
very brief.
hit the semi-limited list, I think, from it, like proactive.
Yeah, Chick was on the list, just
OCG,
very
yeah.
funny.
OCG
Yeah.
overreacted a little bit.
Yeah.
Once they banned Makiura,
Yeah, they were like,
Once
there's
they
probably
banned
some other
Chick is the
broken thing to do with Chick. Yeah.
yeah, once they banned
Yeah.
Makiura,
Oh,
Chick was
man.
no longer a problem.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah,
that's
because
so funny.
Chick can't work with the temple, right?
No,
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No,
No.
yeah.
Yeah,
has to
because
set.
yeah, because the thing with
You have to
Makura is that you could
set.
keep activating it like at that, like in the battle phase.
All right, I know
Yeah.
B-Sox is loving
Temple?
this painful choice because
Yeah.
this is. Oh,
Oh yeah. This
Temple's
is
just
five.
cancerous for different reasons.
This is 5 actual tough cards to pick from.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's an actual painful choice.
I might
Exactly.
give them Jinzo, depending on like I know they can summon it. I guess it would depend if I have DD Warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got DD Warrior
I think
Lady.
Jinzo is the best pick there. Because
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
it doesn't
Okay.
necessarily do anything too bad against PJ on this current board. Because PJ's got no traps. Oh well, the bait. Not even
Yeah.
checking
What
what
was
the set
it?
is, just tripping it off, and I think that's
That was
fair
me and
because
I,
Bene is
again.
not gonna get much value if you don't have mayonnaise yourself.
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
hidden
Yeah.
for 34.
What
What
do
was
you
I
mean?
saying?
They got the secret tech. They got their own mayonnaise. Have the one up. You
Yeah,
know?
so-
Yeah, she's like worse than Spy, except she's searchable.
Yeah, I think Mene is. So I think it
Mhm.
goes like from worst to best. I think it goes Gorg, Chick, Mene,
Mhm.
Cliff, and then Dawn.
Well, Minnie can also get herself from the grave, so it's like an endless
Yes.
loop.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
But
a
that
good one.
too, yeah.
It's an endless loop, but like
Oh.
Cliff has such utility in warrior decks, just getting under gravity bind and popping that.
But B-Sox, think how easy it is to get in damage with a 1,000 attack point monster.
I mean that's true. I mean if you
Yeah.
set it, 1800, a bit of a wall.
Hey, you know what? I attacked into it, so
There you go.
I got Mayonnaise. Like,
There you go. See?
Yeah.
And the difference in defense, 18 versus 2000, isn't really a big deal because we're not seeing many 1900 beaters. In
Yeah.
this tournament.
yeah.
Not
and
right now, yeah.
Okay.
Mane's a lot less of a
Mhm.
break.
Getting breaker.
Wait. Oh,
1900.
wait, you can't get it from Sangan, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Nope.
Yeah, okay.
That's
PJ
why I said
pointed out.
okay.
Yeah.
All
Oh
right.
yeah, I did forget. Awesome Billy Bobber brings up a good point. I did forget Dark Scorpion Burglars. I'd probably slot Dark Scorpion Burglars right above Chick because you are able to use it for Jackpot 7. And
Oh yeah, it is
that,
a monster.
and get
That
that.
OTK.
Yeah.
You know what?
Um,
I'll count down Zalug as a Dark Scorpion. Isn't he part of the Dark Scorpion, guys?
He's
Yeah,
supposed
the
to be.
leader.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Don
the
Zalug is the
leader.
leader. Don Zalug is the best of the Scorpions in my opinion.
He's the
Um,
chief.
Yeah.
He should
The
literally
chief.
just say
The
like
Don.
Dark Scorpion Don Zalug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cliff, the trap remover, didn't say it at first either. It's just a strange thing. They just don't want to change it in the OCG.
So
No,
sad.
you know
Many
what-
could have gotten a better card.
You know what's another like very
Yeah.
sort of sad thing? Like we were talking about how the Guardians were kind of nerfed. Like I feel like the Dark Scorpions, like they've got the trap Dark Scorpion combination. That card is also just like it's unfairly nerfed because basically it says like each of the Dark Scorpions get to attack directly if you have all 5 of them on field. But they only do 400 damage each from those attacks. And it's like why
Before
not
I
let them
got
do
to that
the
last
full
line,
damage?
I was
That
like,
If you get them all out on field,
They-
you deserve to do full damage. It doesn't even kill
Yeah.
you. From
They
8,000.
didn't want you to play. They
Hey,
didn't want you to play with United We Stand.
I mean,
That's
honestly,
That would have
if
been an
you pull
OTK.
off,
But still.
if you pull off,
still.
getting all 5 Dark Scorpions on your side of the field, having combination, like being able to activate combination, and equipping a United We Stand, you deserve to win. I'm sorry, you just like
you can literally do more damage by just setting Spy, flipping it on your turn, and then summoning another monster.
yeah. If you're basing a deck around trying to OTK by gathering 6 specific cards, I have a better deck for you.
yeah, you
No, but
basically
you
need
see,
to
they-
gather 7 specific
I
cards.
think it
because the
was
only way you're
honestly
getting all 5 is mustering,
It-
right?
Yeah. I
Yo,
I
but-
honestly think like I don't know if this is even like true, but like I feel like they maybe did it just because they wanted to use them for the anime, right? And so
I
they
mean,
were like,
yeah.
oh, they can't do that. But
Hey, but
Yeah,
if you
didn't
think
need to.
about it, they do have a spell that summons every single one of them
Exactly.
from the hand.
From the hand.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is like it's just like I mean I guess Mene can assemble them, but like
Yeah.
oh yep that's
The
the, end of the
combo.
Except Don Zalug.
It's coming
And-
together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Summon Bolter first. You never summon Bolter first.
No, I think that was right there.
Okay.
You're not going to summon Senshi and Balter when you've got that low life points, right? And if you just summon Senshi and then they
apparently
fire
you would.
Ring, You're taking.
Well, we were dead
1,000.
anyways, right? Because you gotta pay 1,000 to
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so there
Okay.
I think it was definitely right to just summon out the Senshi.
Mhm.
Or not the Senshi, the Balter.
Yeah.
Because if they got ring, they got ring, you lose either way.
Alternatively, you could just go for the big brain play and do Thousand Eyes Restrict to suck it up.
But
and then
again,
just get
like,
ring
you
for
get
0.
scientists in attack, you're probably losing there either way.
Nah, you gotta try. They won't draw a monster. Why would they draw a monster?
That's true. If they don't draw a monster, then you're feeling okay. But if you ever summon a monster with a 1600 or above attack, then you just lose to ring. So,
The breaker, we cheated into the hand.
yeah, that's true.
Okay. You all wanted to know about scientists and DD Warrior Lady, right?
Yes, that
Oh,
was,
yeah.
that was what you were mentioning
That
earlier.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for
Yeah.
Yeah, you brought it up about it was a oversight. It actually wasn't an oversight, though. It takes a little explanation.
it.
And
Okay, so how
The
was it?
ban list, the limited list itself, was curated to deal with certain things. Like card destruction, it was limited before it could become useful for Exodia. Like Upstart Goblin was limited way earlier. But Scientist and DD Warrior Lady are the two cards before they really mess it up in Chaos formats that escaped the list for a couple of reasons. DD Warrior Lady wasn't even at 1 yet in the OCG in 2003. So they didn't touch it at all. But Scientist was at 1, but it was at 1 after they got Hemok, the Scientist deck. So it was already at its stronger form there. But in the OCG, it was competing with Stein. I said this before. Stein
Oh,
versus
that's true,
Scientist.
actually.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
still not seeing
The
why it's
sign-
not an oversight, even if the ban list was created for certain things.
They didn't
guess
think
the over-
Scientist would be that good
Yeah,
in
they
its own
limited
deck.
Breaker and Tribe, like so.
Yeah.
Because
I
they
don't
Weren't
know-
were
they
that
getting-
damn good.
Guys,
They
weren't
were
they, like-
that good.
I think the
guys, let's
Scientist
talk
did better
about
than
this guy
Breaker and
opening
Tribe.
confiscation pot, graceful, forceful.
I have a question. Weren't they
Yeah.
just copying the ban lists? So if the OCG had Stein and they didn't limit Scientists because of that, then they would have just
They
carried
didn't-
over that ban list, right?
They didn't 100% copy everything. Like,
Oh, okay.
if I remember
Which-
properly, Yugi Kaiba has Swords of Revealing Light and Card Destruction at 2.
Yes.
Card
Mhm.
Destruction was put to 1 the very same month, and Swords was already at 1.
Yeah, but
They
that's why I
just
say
decided card
that's why I
Mhm.
say that
They
it
just
was,
decided.
That's why I say Scientists probably should have been limited in Breaker format.
Mhm.
And
also-
if they're
in
borrowing from the
hindsight, yes,
OCG,
but
Mhm.
and Scientist is
back
Yeah.
stronger
then,
than Tribe and Breaker. So
in the good stuff, yes.
Maybe
Just
it just wasn't like
Scientist as its own
experimented
deck.
with.
Yeah,
'Cause-
Scientist as its own deck just wasn't meta.
yeah, but not even just in Scientist in its own deck, but if you're talking about like curbing good stuff decks playing Tribe and Breaker, like I'd curb Scientist too, because Scientist is easily stronger than Breaker and Tribe in my opinion.
I think
Probably,
the
but they
thing
did it
is
the
like
next
if you think about it, it's like if Stein is around and people technically would be overlooking Scientist a bit, it makes a little sense because you're like more focused on the unique, cool cards that came out. Like, oh, Breaker is like this new cool
No,
thing
yeah, in the
that's like
OCG,
no one does
but
else.
also-
Breaker
but also
was
in
And it, like,
played
they
over.
also conflict with each other, right? Because you can't because if you Scientist a couple of life points, you can destroy Stein, and then with
Yeah, but-
Stein, you're putting yourself in a worse
but,
position.
the point that I want to bring up is
Scientist.
that we're not
Stein-
at the point in the OCG where Scientist is not at 1. Scientist is at 1 in the OCG when the card comes out in
Mhm.
TCG. So,
Yes, it was put there because of Scientist FTK. They
Yeah.
also put DMOC to 1, which is much more egregious than Scientists and DD Warrior Lady are.
yeah, but
Guys, we were
DMOC
in a-
is not
DD
currently
Warrior
out
Lady,
in
I
the
don't even
formats
think-
that we're covering. So that's why we've not mentioned.
Oh, it will be.
It will be.
It-
I don't
soon,
even-
Yes.
If-
But not
I'm
yet.
pretty sure every card will be out at some point in a format
Yes,
we're
yeah.
covering.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm just pointing out DMOC is much worse than those two.
Yeah, DMOC like literally makes reasoning gate like a thing,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Wait,
Like,
why
that's-
Oh yeah,
that
Scientist
it makes it. It's
FTK.
definitely
Why would he send Duo?
I think just for
I
the hand rip,
guess.
just rip out that last card in hand.
I
It is
guess.
kind of
Yeah, or
awkward
just-
here though, because yeah, it's
it
like,
does get out of the way.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
You're thinning out the deck for later.
But yeah, I think you guys have forgotten we're in a grand finals right now.
We are, yeah. This is a
Yeah.
pretty
No.
hype match.
That's true.
The first game went pretty quick, I think, but
Yeah.
I've
I believe, come
forgotten
on.
nothing.
I believe in the Dark Scorpions. Come on, we got to do this.
I give
It's
them
me and
two,
I.
huh, or-
Me and I
Yeah.
control, not Dark
Yeah, May
Scorpions.
and I. But
well,
still.
Dark Scorpion.
Me and
we'll
I
apply Dark Scorpion to it. You know, it's playing a Dark
Act-
Scorpion. You don't
Look,
have to
yes.
play- you
I
don't
don't
have
know
to
how
play
you
Gork.
say. I don't know how you say that name, but me and I is not the way you say it. That's how much I know for sure.
It's a meanie.
I think you give them MST since the Jinzo's up anyway.
Yeah,
Is it me and
you
I
honestly
don't know.
might give them to
No,
it's-
Duo.
It's
because,
like main is.
It depends on what you
Uh,
have.
Yeah, it depends on what you've got in hand. But like, if you give them Duo and you don't really have much in hand, you're just like, well, you know, I lose this card, but they take
Because-
1,000, and it's like 1-for-1
But if you
trade.
keep the
so-
card in hand, you could top deck Reborn or Premature and then pitch for Tribe.
yeah,
I was gonna call her Dark Scorpion chick, but then I was like, wait, that's just a card.
Yeah,
Wait,
no.
you give him
Wait,
Yada?
they gave them Yada? Yada?
Yo.
What's he
Yeah.
cooking? There's
That
no way
is-
he cooks
Yada.
that. There's Deck
We're
would
just not
say
afraid of Yada. It's just not.
That-
No,
that's
it's
a
just not
very
good.
interesting
He just wants to go to
choice. They do
bed.
say
He
this
just wants
might
to
be
go
the
to bed.
dumbest choice. We'll have to see.
They
though.
must have like scapegoat? Like
No,
Also-
he's got
But-
IO,
so PJ
IO, and
can't
TT
summon.
set.
PJ can't summon Yada this turn. So if they've
Oh,
got
yeah,
something in hand
that
to
too.
deal with
Mhm.
Jinzo and they've got a trap to deal with
Yeah.
Yada, then
It's
that
only
does
gonna
make
be a problem
sense.
next turn.
yeah.
Or he just had the
Snatch.
monster.
Snatch.
Well,
And
monster doesn't quite do it because Jinzo can hit over the monster, but it does depend on what
If-
monster you got.
Yeah.
for clearing Jinzo after that,
Yeah, it has
a
to be like a
monster just
specifically
blocks
like.
Yada.
Oh, I get you.
Fiber
So
Jar,
they
maybe?
Just surrender.
a spell to clear
Yeah.
Jinzo and a monster to block Yada. That'll
Mhm.
also do it.
Oh, Lily.
Well, that
okay.
will clear
Ooh.
Jinzo for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious if they had that
Oh,
in hand. If they
2,000
had
for
something else.
1,000. So.
Yeah, awesome, Billy Bob Joe. Scapegoat is indeed legal at 3 copies.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
kind of seen intermittent play in certain decks, but it's definitely not like a staple.
No.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good
it's
point.
mostly pronounced.
Justice Punch says if you want to know how to pronounce, me and I watched the GX episode with the Dark Scorpions in the Brooklyn accents. I can't remember what the
Why,
pronunciation is.
why did he stop and stand by and not grab Sinister?
Oh,
Probably forgot.
of course.
Yeah,
But he stopped. Like, he stopped
yeah,
and
it's
said-
always
I-
interesting seeing on stream, but like, yeah, Serpent is just surprisingly tricky to remember.
Especially when you have
Yeah.
5 cards in hand. I think you
Yeah.
gotta think of it.
Oh,
and it's
The,
like near the
um,
bottom of your
Mhm.
graveyard as well.
okay.
But
does,
yeah,
he,
Breaker-
does he pop it? He's
I
got
think he
TP and
wants to
IO
break
set.
one of the back row.
It looks like it, but it's tough to say because the
It
okay,
looks
oh,
like
so
the IO,
should-
he
coming
wants the
down
IO
there.
safe.
I think that's smart
Oh,
because
wait.
Right.
you're gonna lose one either way. So
Does he have a monster to block Yada?
no,
Oh.
that's part of the question.
Oh, actually, that makes sense. You know, now it makes sense why they wanted
Whoa.
to
I
keep
know
Serpent and. But now, yeah, they wanted to like keep Serpent engraved to get a draw off Mirage, but now it doesn't matter as much.
Yeah. I think honestly maybe they could have saved Mirage, but I guess Mirage gives you a draw either way.
Okay.
So
All right. Well,
And
now they're
Declan draws way out of this mess.
that's
They
the
didn't
question.
forget
Yes.
about Serpent at all. It was all a big brain play to draw a card.
Yeah, so IO does have to
Oh.
actually pay its cost before Mirage gets its effect. You can't have Mirage resolve and then not do anything and then let IO
Now,
lapse.
can he? Okay, so he
Mhm.
can't let it lapse either.
Yeah, you can only do that if you're the turn player controlling both Mirage and IO, and that's gonna order it that way.
Mm,
But the way it works is
Mhm.
that the turn player has to let their things resolve first, and then the other player gets to do it. So
I remember
Gotta
the
love
weirdest
priority.
I remember the weirdest timing thing ever is there's some card. It like if you when you know it's like Stratos but it's at the end of the turn and it's optional. like Gen X
Gen X
something.
Neutron.
It's like Gen X Neuron or something.
Yeah,
yeah. So if you summon it and it gets effect veilered, since it's optional, you can like pass in the end phase on mandatory effects, and then they have to let Veiler stop, and then you can use the optional effect to search.
Oh, that's very funny.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, at least like at a certain point, I think they like eventually changed it.
I think they changed it.
Yeah.
But it was,
Yeah.
Not remotely related, but whoever made people call it Stratos should go to jail. Like that's just not how.
These-
Like,
I think it starts with an M and it ends with a T. You know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Strategy, not strategy.
Strategy.
Yeah, come on.
Stratego.
I mean,
Yeah.
well,
Did
we
he,
can't really take the English language, like into account for that, because then you have words like science that just become conscience for
Strafe.
some reason.
Yeah.
Strafe.
Shouldn't.
Yeah, it looks like
English-
PJ just messaged Discord about the IO thing. So
Yeah, I just also
Yeah.
messaged Declan saying that
Mhm.
yeah, that you don't get the draw there. But yeah, it's kind of a tricky thing. It's a tricky ruling that comes up a lot. But you know, it's a good one to know, especially in advance of the tournament starting tomorrow. Which, if you're watching the stream and you like the gameplay that you see on screen here, definitely
has no
sign
monsters.
up for the Vampire tournament starting tomorrow on the YGF0 Discord server. Link in the description down below.
Yada lock.
But yeah, we'll have to
Bring
see
your
if
most
Yada
based
actually.
Oh
They
no!
are taking the
Game!
Yada.
Oh no!
So this will likely be the end of the game, but it does benefit
Yeah.
Declan here. Like, and part of the reason why they're probably just doing this.
Oh.
Yeah, so now they don't get a draw. off
Oh,
Mirage.
4 cards.
So they could have a spell here that gets them out of this, though. And the Imperial Order just shut it off last turn.
Now we're gonna
Yes.
see the scapegoats trust.
Yeah, I think we don't know either of the set cards.
Yeah, we do
Yeah.
not. So
You know nothing.
this could definitely be a thing where like they've got like painful.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So
That saves him.
Yeah, so that's why they did it that way. They just took the L off the Yada, but you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah.
Now,
PJ's gonna lose some of his draw deck thinning advantage. Now
PJ is
8
still
cards
talking about the
deeper.
rules. While we wait for this painful choice, this is for B-Sox only, because I bet Blah will know it. B-Sox, what is the effect of Elemental Hero Stratos in the manga?
In the manga, ooh. It's going to be tough.
Now remember, it is one of the strongest cards, in TCG is one of the strongest cards ever printed.
In the manga.
I'll take a wild guess and say that it just destroys its spell trap.
Oh, I was going to guess that it halves
it can half its attack to attack directly.
Yeah.
It is completely useless. It is the most useless.
Yeah.
Well, I
forgot. Did like the level change too of what Stratos was in the manga, or am I?
It looks like it was 4 stars, but there are give us some exceptional star changes in between manga anime to TCG.
Wait.
Summon Skull was level 7. Gaia the Fierce Knight was level 6.
That's pretty neat.
That actually
makes more sense.
Wait, that makes sense. Yeah.
Makes more sense.
Yeah.
In the card game.
I believe in Universe all this, because initially there were no tributes, so I thought stars just meant like the rarity of the card in the Yu-Gi-Oh universe.
Yeah. I think that was supposed to be like that.
Was like that in the OCG too at the start. When Gaia was printed with Dark Magician in Volume 1, they were both level 7.
Yeah.
We gotta love some junior rules.
Yeah, junior journey.
Yeah.
Official rules, actually,
add
but
fiber,
yeah.
Add fiber.
Yeah.
Add fiber.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
the
you
reason why I
gotta
think
add
that the
fiber.
halving attack for Stratos is because I think it would be related to Elemental Hero Great Tornado, the wind elemental hero. Fusion,
that makes sense.
which halves
So
your
he's just spending cards Yada, is what he's doing.
What is that? There. Oh, I'm thinking of Drill Warriors, a famous card that does that.
Drill Warriors
Have his
a
attack.
lot of wind cards have to do with, that's kind of their gimmick, right? With the wind type, like attacks directly.
Yeah.
And,
Attack
definitely
having things.
Wind's gimmick is back row destruction. Heavy Storm and Duster are both wind
I mean,
cards.
as you know, Harpies.
Yeah.
Whenever
Harpies
they
on
get
the
their
ground
field
as
spell,
well.
I suppose. Yeah.
Gosh. I can't
Harpies
wait
right
for that.
now is a different story, but we didn't talk about Harpies right now
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
don't even
Harpies
exist.
right now isn't that much different. Still bounces back row, still removes back row. It's just not destroying it anymore.
Awesome Billy Bob Joe mentions in the anime it's pronounced Mina, actually. So Mina the Thorn.
Mina.
Uh,
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mina.
Well, Mina sounds like a person name, so I actually am okay with that.
Wait, he went. Here are the options: Fiber, Mirage, Ring of Destruction,
Breaker,
Pot of
Breaker
Greed, or
It's kind of an
Breaker.
interesting set of cards to pick from here. I think
I
Breaker's
think
the
he's
most
getting Breaker.
innocuous. Yeah.
Can
I
you
feel like
Breaker
If
into
they have the
Invincible?
removal though, they could go fiber.
Well, what you could do
Breaker.
also, you could just give him Ring. Yeah, and then if the set is
Breaker-
MST,
Breaker
you just
into
pop the ring.
That too, yeah.
That works.
Or give him
Easy.
Pot of Greed.
Just
Hope
too
he
easy.
sets Pot of Greed.
Yes. Yeah, Pot agreed. That's the best choice, obviously. You know, gotta
Yeah,
be
so I
gotta
think
be
the-
generous.
I think Ring is probably the best option there. It might actually be the end of the game as well,
And
depending on
those
what
cards are
Declan's
just staying
other set
banished.
is here.
Oh yeah, the card's gotta be. put
He
back.
doesn't want him to reborn Breaker. He's keeping it in his banish zone and see if he notices.
Yeah.
I think
Honestly, yeah.
I
If
think
like
Declan wants to go to sleep.
yeah. No, honestly, I've like thought about it. Like, if people ever did try, they ever tried to like errata painful, they could do something similar to like how
Okay.
Crossout Designator works, and just have all the cards be banished, but never they can't be activated again for like the rest of the duel.
Well,
And
it
that's
would
sort
need
of-
you couldn't use
Getting
you couldn't
added
use the
that.
card you added that turn too. That'd have to be the other
And that
one.
too. Yeah, I would say that could probably be fair.
It would be,
well,
it would need- it
Reborn
would be like
Jinzo will
it could be like a
also
one
shut
turn
down
gold
Ring.
start.
Yeah, this is probably the end of the game there.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's
Give him Jinzo.
Yeah, that
I think
Yeah. Is it Jin's over?
it looks like it might
No,
be Jin's over
now-
here.
Now it's the scapegoat.
and if
The scapegoat
Declan's
is
got Book of
nothing.
Moon to set down the Yada, but that's
Oh,
pretty much the only thing that
GG.
can happen. Yep, and that
Yeah.
will be the end of game 2 there. Going into
game
game 3.
3 of the grand
very,
finals.
very, very interesting game 2 ending there. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
free time.
All right, come
Yep, a
on,
little
bit of
free
come
time,
on,
yeah.
Mina.
I've posted
this.
the replays for Drama Llama 6 up to the 4th round so far.
Cool.
Let's go.
We'll be posting round 5 because they're now in Swiss.
Yeah.
Congratulations
they're in
to
Top
quite a
Cut,
few
but
regular
yeah.
members like
yeah. So,
Aleph, Ghosty, Dump Truck, Danny, Paolo's in too.
yeah. So
Yay!
if you want to do
And
other
Yammerman.
tournaments besides the ones that we hold on YGO from Zero, Format Library is a great place to do so. And that's where the latest Yada tournament, the Drama Llama Classic 6, happened. And it's still going on.
Happens.
Hopefully, we'll be streaming the live stream for that, the final match when that happens. But it depends on scheduling and stuff like that. But should be fun.
This is my mandatory weekly shill for Yada being one of the greatest underexplored formats of all time.
Oh, 100%. I think Yada
Yeah.
has the most potential out of all the DM era formats to... Oh, I haven't played Chaos yet, so I can't say anything about that. But of the ones that we covered, I think that if any of them is going to get picked up as like, you know, a GOAT or an Edison or something on that level of popularity, it is Yada.
Well,
Absolutely.
Yada has the name
Yada.
to attract people.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's interesting.
I mean, you get
I'm curious if people like the Yada name and they're like, "Ooh, that actually sounds cool. I know Yada," or if they're like, "Ooh, Yada. Ooh, I don't want to play with that card. Ooh, get me."
what are you gonna call it?
Yeah.
Gravekeeper's format?
Yeah,
Yes.
Nobody's
Yeah.
gonna play a retro format if they don't want to play with broken shit.
yeah. I mean, especially when it's Yada.
Mhm.
But well, there's a difference between like the
Yeah.
Yada lock degeneracy and like multiple
Oh,
hand
no.
degeneracy, as we're seeing here.
So
format.
Oh, no.
hear me out.
DJ's
The-
getting his hand destroyed.
Jesus.
Yay!
The other cool thing about Yada is that you can still play like a goat-esque chaos deck, except it's just the light part, and the payoff is a lot more fair.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
cool
light
deck to
meta.
have.
Yeah.
I do think that
And then
like,
reasoning decks also have a fun thing you can do as well for like machines and even the light meta as well. You can
Yeah.
do
That's true.
Reasoning debut.
there's a lot of potential things to explore in that format, and I think it's like when we live streamed the finals of the last Yatta tournament, we had a bunch of like very good GOAT players in the live stream as well, and they're mentioning how it really feels like how GOAT used to feel like, where there was still so much to explore with that sort of card pool.
Oh.
And TT is pretty good
Oh.
there. Popping
Nice,
the witch.
yeah.
Should have flipped the spy, I think. First.
It might have been
Sure.
they wanted to make the TT a bit worse there. They didn't want PG to flip the TT there, and something which would do that. But yeah, I'd agree that I think there I'd probably flip the spy and attack him with that. But searching out Lily, pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yes, if he TT'd, then first line, you just summon the witch and poke for 11.
Yeah. Well,
I
also would have
think
decked
he
things
won.
out a
He
little
might,
bit
he might
as
have
well.
another spy in hand.
That could be
Yeah.
too.
Would have gotten a similar thing. Oh, Charity.
Oh my goodness. Gosh.
And they got the serpent to pair with it.
The classic
And-
DM. Yep,
Ooh,
and then the
knock as well.
Wow.
Yeah, hidden a morphing
Oh
jar. Okay,
no.
that would have gotten
Oh,
that would have gotten
does he have a second
PJ
copy?
back into
No,
the game.
I'm-
I think
Does he have a
he's
second
looking-
copy?
Oh,
Morgan
no.
jars it too.
It is
Oh
at
no,
2.
the secret effect of Nobleman of Crossout, milling Dark Hole from the deck.
Yeah, no,
pretty
that's,
sure you
that's
don't
broken.
shuffle, by the way.
Getting rid of a powerful top deck lid.
Gets rid of Dark
yeah.
Hole every time.
Breaker
Breaker.
coming
Oh,
down
no.
to break the back row. potentially.
Yeah. Yo,
We're
what
we're
is
literally
This is why
destroying.
it's limited, friends.
We're
This is
literally
why it's
destroying PJ Darkness's entire livelihood. Like every single card
Yeah.
has been killed.
Yeah.
No,
That's
this basically
how
just
DM
feels
is.
like
Yeah,
No,
occasionally if you
honestly,
open up
this
these
is sort of-
hands. But also, like, there's enough power
Oh.
cards in the
Oh,
format that things
God.
can equalize in a moment's notice.
Although exile forcing a breaker, it isn't where you want to be
Yeah,
exactly.
especially when you
but-
know
Yeah,
that
no.
Fatal is coming down.
Yeah.
1,000 more for
Yikes.
PJ.
Equalized.
Yep, there it is.
DPJ's lost the life point advantage, but it's still very close.
Yeah. Well, Rhoda will
Alright,
help.
Rhoda.
Oh,
with,
here's DD Warrior.
Yo,
lady.
let's go.
this is why Rhoda is such a just powerful card in this format, because Triple Warrior Lady really helps out a lot.
Warrior deck. I mean, you can just like play a warrior package in a good stuff deck, and you're like big
Yeah.
chilling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, the
You
Warrior
can do
control
that-
deck is kind of just that. Just playing a warrior
That's-
package.
yeah,
It's gonna
true.
be less good in chaos because
well, yeah,
chaos.
but we're not
I think
and all that
everything
stupid
become-
one-ups.
Everything that is not chaos becomes
Yeah.
less good in chaos.
It's kind of
Yeah,
silly.
but honestly, like
you know,
Chaos Warriors can
Not
still be a
everything.
thing, though.
That's true.
Yeah, the
You
warrior.
Could, you could.
Not everything.
This sort of warrior deck is also a lot less good in tier limit format.
Okay, yeah, like Burn doesn't
it's-
care
it's-
if you chaos, but I don't know.
Yeah, in tier limit, it's a
So,
bit tricky to play the warrior deck, so it's
Oh.
a bit less good. But
Okay.
it's kind of an interesting
know how I
choice.
feel about
Does
that.
I'm not sure if I
PJ
would
does
have.
Declan have game?
I'm not sure if I would have gone aggressive with the warrior lady this way. I guess it does play around
Yeah.
knock a bit.
Maybe
I mean,
it's-
but it doesn't play around any monster.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And
the
yeah.
warrior lady,
it
hit
doesn't play
Easy.
around DD
the
Warrior
LA
Lady.
out.
Yeah.
I mean, to be
Actually,
fair,
yeah, it would have
to
been
be
dead.
fair, they were dead
anyways,
either
yeah.
way because warrior lady
they're
attacked
dead
set,
Mhm.
and then injected fairly attacks directly to finish off the game. So that would do it either way. But yeah, no
Aw.
career.
Hey, that was fun, though.
unfortunately. But very,
Yeah.
very good games here. Declan does indeed win the tournament. So
I
congratulations.
think this is their first locals win.
It might
right?
be. They,
Yes.
Let's
they've
go.
managed to make it all the way to finals in a regular monthly. But I do think this might be their first locals. They haven't really been able to play in any of these, but congratulations to Declan for winning that. So Declan is a
Right.
new locals legend.
We need to get the clickbait content where you just go, Dark Scorpion got top the tournament? Like
Yeah, top two.
Yeah.
Top two?
That's not even
the pog
clickbait.
face.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You guys probably already know this, but you're at 995 after this stream.
Yeah, no, very
That's
Five
exciting.
more to
We're
go.
down
That's
quite
so
a bit.
close.
Yeah.
We're so close. 5 away. If you're watching the stream and not subscribed, subscribing is the best place to do that, and it will get us to 1,000. You'll get regular retro content, and
There he is.
There he is.
Hello.
Congratulations.
Champ
Can you
himself.
hear me?
Congratulations.
Mhm.
I'm Declan.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
So now, have you
Thank you.
played much Vampire before this locals? or just like your
I've,
main
I've never
version?
played Vampire before, honestly. So I just copy pasted your good stuff deck
And how did it work
and
out for you?
and went.
How do you like it?
And just a question before going bed because it's 4
Oh yeah,
a.m.
very. Yeah, sorry for the late tournament for you.
No problem. I knew what was going on there.
Yeah.
Listen to me. Is there a sort of prize, something?
There's
Is there a
not.
prize, just like in the
Yeah,
You get a
normal
roll?
tournament?
unfortunately for the locals, it's just like bragging rights. You do get a role in the Discord, a locals
Ah,
legend role.
Mhm.
come
But
Yeah.
on.
You
yeah,
also get
these
a free
aren't.
jester
Yeah.
hat.
You don't get that, but these are very just more small tournaments for to help people prepare for the bigger
Yes,
ones. So, but it's still very
yes, I
very
get it.
impressive
So I
that
have
that you won. Winning a
thanks.
yeah.
You also get
Congratulations.
the managed to defeat Dark Scorpions badge, which not a lot of people
Yes.
have.
Yes,
Oh
that was impressive.
yeah,
Yes, thank you.
yeah. But
I
congratulations
also
again.
managed to defeat a skill drain deck.
Yeah, and that was cool
Yeah.
to
Yes,
see.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
defeated losing like 5 cards in the first turn.
yes, of course.
Yeah,
That's
culmination.
another issue with this format, but
Yeah, but as we saw
it's
in that
fine.
game,
It's fine. What?
yeah, as we saw in that game, it's not necessarily impossible to win from that sort of
Yes,
position.
and that's thanks to Fiberjar.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's really an out to
Yeah.
insane card advantage you can take with graceful pot of greed.
Gotta love
I
Fiber
don't
Jar.
think that's
Hey,
a dumb
everybody.
card.
Fiber jar. But
Everybody
yes,
should
Fiber
probably
jar is
start playing
glorious.
Hodettes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was main
Saves
decking
users
2
so
Hodettes because I
much.
was terrified of all
Nah.
the DD Warrior ladies and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. No. Everyone
Ladurusso
gotta.
says in the YouTube chat, he just copy pasted a deck and won it all. What a beast!
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I kind of did that too, but I got so unlucky.
That's crazy.
but
Yeah.
Yes, it
No,
might be
everyone
sad
gotta
because
play
it's just a
Zork.
local, but
yeah.
Y'all should be based and get last place like me by building
Well,
my own deck.
I'm curious, honestly,
Yeah.
because we got the big tournament coming up tomorrow. Or I guess probably today for you.
tomorrow.
But yeah, we got the big
Yes, I don't
monthly
think I
tournament
will there.
starting at 2 p.m. EST. So, but it
2
should be a lot
p.m.
of fun.
EST. It's
And yeah, this is going to be a
okay.
multi-day, so you don't have to do it all in one go like this. So
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
This might be. I might be there.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
This copy paste
Let's
that, but
go.
I will make a minor change because I really need a Yata there.
Yeah. Yada.
When there's an empty board, you just need something like that. in
You
my
just
opinion.
need a Yada.
And we
You
saw
just need
Yada.
the Yada. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw it come up
Mhm.
multiple times, and yeah, I think that's
Yes,
the good
multiple
way.
times.
Yeah, I think it's the good way to do it. Like that's how I do it personally. Where whenever I start a new tournament, I just basically copy paste the best list that I see, and then I test it out. And I'm like, this needs a little bit of something, and then I add whatever I feel is missing. And yeah.
Yes,
So,
that's the most clever way to do that.
yeah.
You can
my
also just
opinion.
add Reaper and then hit in and feel good.
Yeah, Spirit Reaper.
Yes, Reaper is another card. Yes,
Yeah.
maybe.
There's a lot of just
Yeah.
Yata,
powerful cards.
I love monocopy Yata in a deck. I just love that.
Oh yeah.
Just aesthetically talking, because later in the format, in the game, Yata will be banished. So
Yeah.
it's better for us to take advantage of that card
Yeah, you gotta play it
while
while
it's
you
still
can.
at 3.
Yeah.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Billy Bob
Chaos.
Joe for just building whatever burn deck is just there.
We'll
That's
see the
good.
peak deck of Yada soon.
Well,
Yeah.
Billy Bob Joe, you should play Amazon as burn. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm really
goodbye.
looking forward. Yeah, thank you for coming to the tournament, and sorry
Yeah.
for it
Yeah.
being so late again.
Yeah.
But
Thanks
hope
to
to see you
you.
in the
Thanks.
big one tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, let's see.
Mhm.
I will manage to be there.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And
Goodbye,
And with
guys.
that was a fun podcast. See
Yeah.
you guys later. I'm gonna head
well,
out.
yeah, I'm
Hold on,
probably
hold on.
actually
Yeah.
gonna end the stream somewhat soon now that we've covered that. But congratulations to everyone who's played in the locals tonight, and thank you all for joining. And again, if you're watching the stream or if you played in the locals, definitely try out the monthly tournament starting. tomorrow at 2 p.m. EST. It's a multi-day event, so don't worry if you're not available like all Saturday. You just got to join before the event starts, and you'll be in. And there are 48-hour rounds, so that means that you'll have 2 days each to schedule your matches, and it should be pretty fun. Yeah, a good way to spice up your holiday season, although we're aiming to end it before Christmas because that's a bit of a busy time of year for people. So
But
yeah,
B-Sox, we've got one more match.
Oh, we got one more match. Is it?
I sent you the greatest game in history.
Oh, okay. In DMs.
If you, I mean, you can fast forward. It's a game too. You can fast forward through some
Okay,
of it.
well, I'm
but...
probably gonna sign off here though. So
Oh man,
I'll have to show it off next time though. Maybe I'll make a video on it if it's spicy enough.
Yep.
I
Look
will- I
at the
will-
round
let me-
four.
Let me give you a tagline.
That's on the
for it.
Discord
Yeah. Well,
if
Hey,
you want to
tagline
watch
for it.
them.
Yeah. Again, I'm gonna probably sign off here, but thank you all for coming, and thanks everyone for participating and watching. And we're very close to 1,000, so if you're still not subscribed at this point, definitely just hit that subscribe button. Let's get to that point. And yeah, join the tournaments tomorrow. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this. So I'll see you next week when we do another local stream, because we do these pretty much every week. So look forward to that. And yeah, see you all next time. Peace.
See you on the couch.
Adios.
Okay, good stuff.